commuters.
It's a sort of non-aggressive, sort of passive stand, just so the commuters know where we're at and just to remind them that this is a residential area.
The case of a woman from Hertfordshire who was given a do not resuscitate notice without consultation will be heard in the Court of Appeal today. Janet Tracy was fatally injured after a car crash in Abbots Langley, but the DNR was put on her records without her family's knowledge. The prison service is to make it harder for inmates to qualify for day release after a man serving 13 life sentences absconded. Michael Wheatley, nicknamed the Skullcracker, carried out numerous armed robberies, including one in Royston. Residents living near the prison on the Isle of Sheppey are concerned.
If he's that dangerous, then he should be under lock and key and not be allowed out.
I don't think he should be in an open prison, to be honest, really, no.
There's no way they should be out into the community. Well, it is very worrying.
It's 60 years since Roger Bannister became the first person to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. In 1954, his achievement was compared to man's conquest of Everest a year earlier. Sir Roger was recently asked if he ran the race for himself or for Britain.
I think I did it for both. I don't think I could distinguish, but there was certainly a feeling of it being a national event and something of a landmark for the country. But it had to be me attempting it, so it was entangled with my own effort.
In sport, Liverpool's hopes of winning the Premier League have suffered a huge setback after losing a 3-0 advantage to draw with Crystal Palace. It means they lead the Premiership table by 1 point, but Man City have a game in hand. And Mark Selby has won the World Snooker Championship for the first time. The weather will be cloudy at first, but clearing to leave a mainly dry and warm day with sunny spells. Top temperatures around 17 degrees Celsius, 63 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Dad pop. Where did that idea come from?
It came from my brain.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Nice, yes, neighbours, very nice. Everybody helps each other.
So yeah, we're not far from anything green, really, if you think about it.
All this week we're featuring Milton Keynes.
But Milton Keynes is a lovely, friendly, brilliant place to live.
It's a place where you don't just come to shop. You know, you can come here and just chill out with friends and family.
It's all about where you live. The big tour. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Dad pop. Where did that idea come from?
It came from my brain.
I just want to go and chill out with friends and family, but I've got no idea where to go and do it. Any suggestions? 08459 455 555. If you missed yesterday's show, well, it was fun. We just played records. I forgot to bring any records in today. We're going to play more records from now on. I'll bring some in tomorrow. Today's show won't be fun. Have I got that right, Catherine? No fun today?
Well, I mean, limited fun.
Limited fun.
Within reason, you know. Fun's fun and that.
We will have some fun between 8:30 and 8:35.
If we're lucky.
Yeah, if we're lucky. Bearing in mind, 2 minutes of that will be taken up by Lee doing the news, so... Coming up this morning, cameras on cops, commuters in cars, and rose bushes in bin bags. All of those things are getting people cross in varying degrees. Find out how, why, and generally what for by listening to me on the radio.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
You all right, Kath?
Yeah.
Kelly was my producer yesterday.
I know.
She was good.
She is good.
No, she was good.
Oh.
Huh? I might be good today.
Well...
We'll see.
Well, you were good yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm good every day. I don't know...
What?
So, Catherine, the pressure's on, basically, because Kelly was good yesterday.
OK. Well, I'm glad for you and her.
No.
And the listener, most of all. Radio wins.
You're missing the point.
What?
The point is... The pressure's now on you.
No, it isn't.
Well, hey, come on.
No, it isn't. We're very different people.
Well, she was good yesterday.
I have different gifts. Kelly has different gifts.
You both got great gifts, and I would like to thank you for those gifts. But how are you gonna make the show? How are you gonna grab the show back, Kath? What have you got planned for today?
Some things and some stuff and some ideas.
Did you bring any food?
No, I have some herbal teas.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Herbal teas.
salvation is near this time. Near this time. Can you feel it now? So brothers and sisters, shall we know how? Now tell me, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Yeah, yeah. Ooh. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Ooh. All the children of the world should be loving each other wholeheartedly. Yes, it's alright. Take my message to your brother and tell him twice. Take the news to the marching men who are killing their brothers when death won't do. 'Cause we're all the same. Yes, the blood inside of me is the start of you. Now tell me, can you feel it? Tell me, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you see what's going down? You feel it in your bones. Can you feel it?
Now, police in Luton are wearing body cameras in an attempt to protect officers and reassure the public. The trouble is, well, the cameras can be switched on and off at will. The police officers decide when to do that. It's a flaw in the plan, according to campaigners, demanding answers following 2 recent incidents of alleged police mistreatment of vulnerable adults in the town. In an open letter on the Force website, Chief Constable Colette Paul insisted that innocent members of the public have nothing to fear. Well, this Luton resident thought that was fair enough.
I'd rather see the police feel safe when they walk on the streets, when they look after us, because there are some people out there who will do things that other people would not do. And not everywhere in Luton you got CCTV cameras. Not everywhere in Luton is a safe place. It's a lovely town. I love my town. I won't live anywhere else. But I just want everyone to be protected, and one of them is the police.
So you would know then, if police are wearing cameras, that they're protected, but also would you feel a bit more protected as well?
Yes, I'll give you an example. If I was in a scuffle with somebody and I'm the innocent victim, having a camera there would either lessen the tension, or you may record something that could be given as evidence later.
Well, keen to get your thoughts on this. Police wearing body cameras, good idea? 08459 455 555. Let's speak now to Bernard Ricks from Bedfordshire, an advisor to the police, and has written reports for the Home Office on policing. Morning, Bernard.
Good morning, Ian.
Police wearing cameras, is that the way forward?
I think it's helpful. It means that there are many more occasions when the evidence will be there and very clear, both video and audio. And there are many instances where you can actually think that actually that would have been helpful, not least recent incidents in Downing Street, where the dispute is over what was said. If there'd been a video camera there worn by the officer, that would never have been disputed.
The problem I see with this is the fact that the police officers can turn them on and off when they want. So, extreme example, a police officer, wants to rough up a young lad. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. They can turn it off and then turn it on when they've finished.
Well, that's a very good point, and the interview that you held with the chap in Luton brought out some of those issues as well. These are new pieces of equipment. They're not in widespread use across the country yet. There are trials going on, for example, in Essex, that are run by the College of Policing, that will find out more about how they're used. But I think it's a very good question. Doesn't it create an issue by the police officer being able to turn them on and off? Although you can see that there are certain circumstances under which, for their own privacy, the officer back in the restroom, shall we say, would want them to be turned off.
This has kind of been snuck out in Luton. There have been big campaigns over the last 6 months or so because of various incidents for the police to be wearing cameras. And then we sort of heard last week rumours that it happened a couple of weeks ago. Why do you think they've not made a big song and dance about it?
Well, I think that there are some aspects of public engagement where Bedfordshire Police have a little to learn. I personally have a bit of an issue with their inability to use social media as widely as many other forces do. This is perhaps one of those instances where Bedfordshire Police, by being more open as to what they were planning and what they were doing, actually could have dealt with the public interest that little bit better.
Are there any downsides to this, Bernard? There will be some, I imagine, civil liberties group. I don't know. I imagine Big Brother Watch might have a problem with this. The fact that if the police speak to us, we will be filmed whether we like it or not.
Well, in the very early days, the police officers themselves were concerned about wearing body cams, and there are various different types of body cams, by the way. They were concerned that this meant that they were going to be tracked with their precise location given back to the force throughout the day. Now, in fact, that concern was very quickly overcome. Police officers as individuals realised that the camera very often diffused the situation, that somebody who was perhaps instinctively violent to police would realise that the camera was there on the police officer. They'd be less inclined to be violent towards the police officer. So there are some very good, very helpful ways in which this can improve the ability of the police officer and of the member of the public to prove what happened.
That's an interesting point I hadn't thought of. The fact that what could turn into a member of the public getting a bit aggressive could be calmed down by the police simply going, look, you're being filmed, mate, just, back down a bit.
Absolutely so, and there are other uses as well. For example, in domestic violence or domestic abuse, where somebody will call the police to their house, their partner is being violent, the evidence on the camera may actually remove the need for the individual who is being attacked by their partner to go to court with this. The police have the evidence through the body cam that has recorded the situation as they arrived there.
Bernard, I appreciate your time as always, particularly at this ridiculous time of the morning. Thank you, Bernard Ricks from Bedfordshire, advisor to the police, written reports for the Home Office on policing. So, Luton's police officers are wearing body cameras. There's pluses and minuses. I think there are more pluses than there are minuses. I think that you could only be in favour of this. Yes, you could argue that it's flawed. The fact they can turn the cameras off when they want means the power is still in the hands of the police officers. But it's got to be a good idea, hasn't it? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's a quiet start on the major routes so far. The M1 looking good in both directions. Got some roadworks to watch out for in Great Amwell. On the A10 around the Amwell roundabout, there's a lane closed. And on public transport, Southern have no trains between Milton Keynes Central and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. That's also affecting London Midland and Virgin trains, where trains between Milton Keynes and Euston may be delayed by up to 20 minutes. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. 6:16. It's Tuesday, the 6th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Police officers across Bedfordshire are now wearing body cams. Residents of Bishop Stortford are launching a new campaign to stop commuters parking in their streets. And the case of a Hertfordshire woman who was given a do not resuscitate without consultation will be heard in court today. The weather will be mainly dry today with sunny spells.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, this next trail, short 30, 40-second ad, is labelled Kick Off App. Be interested to see what it's like. Could be a lot of fun. I'm going to press the play button now and you're going to hear it and then we'll discuss it afterwards.
Ever wondered what it takes to become a sports reporter?
Winters gets the goal for Oxford City. It was a lovely touch by Darren Bondy.
The BBC's Kick-Off trainee scheme can give you the chance to find out. You could be joining our local sports teams working 2 days a week over an 8-week summer placement. You'll record reports and interviews, research stories and write for our sports website.
But you're guaranteed league football next season and it was a terrific performance.
There are places all over England, but competition will be tough. All the details and terms and conditions are online at bbc.co.uk/careers. Final whistle for applications, Sunday, the 11th of May. The BBC Kick-Off Scheme. If you want to work in sports broadcasting, there's all to play for.
I'll have that. Now, people think working in sports broadcasting is easy. Look at Luke Ashmead and Jeff Doyle, for example. But it's not. It's not easy. For example, Kelly Betts, imagine you're commentating on the football.
Okay. The one with the spiky hair, he's got the ball. He's passed it to the one in the red. The one in the red, he's passed it to another one in the red. And is that offside? No, I don't know what that means.
You see?
Oh, Kelly, stop now.
Oh, did I swear?
No, you didn't. But she's got a right cob on, hasn't she?
I wish it was yesterday again.
I thought you meant... Yeah, no, you're right, Catherine. Well done. Yeah, stop it, Kelly.
Don't change your tone just because you walked back in the room.
You're letting the side down, Kels.
Well, offside down. I don't know.
When the ball is played forward in the other side's half, there must be at least 2 defenders in front of them between them and the goal. One of them is usually the goalkeeper.
Who is she?
I'm a sports reporter's daughter.
Oh, yeah, she is. She is.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I are just like a couple of tots running across a meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung, bells to be rung, and a wonderful fling to be flung. And even when I'm old and gray, I'm gonna feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel so young. You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go and play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I are just like a couple of tots running across a meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung, bells to be rung, wonderful fling to be flung. And even when I'm old and grey, I'm gonna feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel so young. You make me feel
are... Oh, sorry, it's still going on. How rude.
You make me feel so young.
Okay, so we are discussing. Are we allowed to discuss this on air?
I think so.
We are going next week to what used to be the Sony Awards. They will always be the Sony Awards in my mind, but they're not now. I don't know.
That's what's going to make us sound like old giffers.
Okay, now we are up for a couple of awards. But we don't know what to wear. Now, I was going to go simple tuxedo.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went...
You mean dinner jacket?
What's the difference?
American.
Mine's from America.
Is it?
No, it's
what,
from...
ruffle shirt and a...
Moss Bros. But you said, they don't wear that anymore.
Well, I kind of checked out what other people wore last year, because when I went years and years ago, just as a tagger on, I wasn't up for anything, it was very, evening dress, dinner jacket. Looking now, it seems that the cocktail dress lounge suit is.
Well, I mean, some of these people haven't made the effort. The only people
that wash some of them.
The only people that have made effort are the old school: Humphreys, O'Leary, Parks. Those have made the effort, and they've gone tuxedo for the gentlemen. I mean, the women have all dressed like they've just come down from the market or something.
What are you talking about?
Kels, what are you going to wear?
This.
Black top, cardigan, and a short skirt. No.
Oh.
No, mate, you're not. You're not.
Tuxedo?
Yeah, that's okay, right. But is a tuxedo too much?
I think you have to wear it with confidence, whatever you're wearing. It's not got lights on it. It's not like that one out big, is it?
When I say tuxedo, it's a T-shirt that's got a tuxedo printed on it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Mm.
Is that too much? I don't think it's too much. I'm going for it.
Would you rather be overdressed or underdressed? I guess that's the vibe, isn't it?
I'd rather not be there, let's be
come
completely
on.
honest.
We'll have a nice time.
No, we won't.
In London.
Dealey's coming. Dealey wants to go to, like, Stringfellows or China Whites afterwards.
He's been talking about peppermint hippo one week.
It's not happening, Deals. Now, this is an important story that will affect lots of you, I'm sure. Most of us know the pavement outside our homes. It doesn't belong to us, of course, but if someone else parks there day after day, it can drive you nuts. Well, that's exactly what's happening in Bishop Stortford, where commuters have started leaving their cars in residential areas rather than paying to park at the station. Now, I know what you're thinking, annoying, but tough. But what if I told you the residents don't have any off-road parking? Huh? Boyle's been... Boyle. Cat. How rude. How overly familiar.
Typical.
My producer, Catherine Boyle, has been looking into this. Catherine, what impact is this having on the residents?
Well, I live in a commuter town too, and you could swap the name Bishop Stortford with many others across the 3 counties and find the same thing happening, people avoiding those parking payments. The thing is about this, that makes this one different, is that people who live in Bishop Stortford, where the commuters are parking, don't have driveways to park their own cars on, so there is a real battle going on here. It also means that residential streets are becoming very congested indeed, and the bin men and delivery lorries are being blocked from getting through. In fact, we've been told about one occasion where the bin men couldn't get through for 6 weeks. So rubbish was just left to pile up. And after the conversations we've been having lately about rats, residents were worried about more than just the smell.
Well, I think I know the answer to this, but why aren't the train commuters parking elsewhere?
Well, residents have told us that the car park at the station is for season ticket holders only, and car parking charges around the centre of Bishop Stortford have shot up recently. Also, some of the car parks have had flats built on them, so there are even fewer places to go. So all this means that commuters are taking advantage of free parking outside residents' homes. Look, no one owns the street. Everyone owns the street.
I'm keen to get your thoughts on this, dear listener. Whose sympathy are you winning? I can't speak today. Whose side are you on, is what I'm trying to say. Are you on the side of the residents who think, yeah, no, of course people shouldn't be parking in their streets, or are you thinking, tough luck? There are no rules, there are no lines there, people can park where they want. They have already received some publicity from their campaigning, haven't they?
Yeah, they were on BBC's Parking Mad last week. Residents have been putting up signs to challenge commuters who leave their cars outside their homes. Helen lives in South Mill Road, and she explained the thinking behind the posters on the programme.
We've made up the posters and we're hoping they'll be able to put them in the front and back of their cars, so they'll be seen from all angles. It's a sort of non-aggressive, sort of passive stand, just so the commuters know where we're at, and just to remind them that this is a residential area, and hopefully they could remember to park in the station car park or the town car park or anywhere else rather than South Mill Road.
It's a nice idea. That ain't going to work.
No, money talks, doesn't it?
Any word on a more permanent solution?
Residents want the council to consider bringing in permit spaces for residents, but they don't know when or if, indeed, that will ever happen. We've spoken to East Herts District Council, who say that they are aware of the parking pressures and have allocated funding for the possible implementation of a resident permit parking scheme in the area, but they say surveys and consultations will be needed first, which will take time, of course. So it doesn't look as if the residents of South Mill Road and Mill Street will be getting any answers anytime soon.
Didn't we do a similar story maybe a year ago? And someone phoned up and said that they had they'd been parking perhaps where they shouldn't have parked, or where people didn't want them to park, and they came back and they found, how can I put this delicately, a poo on their car.
What? I don't remember that one.
Didn't we? Kels, do you remember that?
Sorry, I'm just on the phone to Jeffrey.
OK. Oh, not today, Jeffrey!
Not today, Jeffrey.
There we go. Saved that time there, isn't it? Just the embarrassment.
But people do get very...
People get very possessive.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing. It sounds like a small thing, but you do it day after day and time after time. And if you can't park your car outside your house and the bin men can't get down there, then you'll get upset. Of course you will.
And when you know they're not going to be back until long after close of play, I mean, they're going to be gone all day. I can imagine it does get irritating.
I don't understand why the council can't just go and put in a parking permit thing. Why would that take long? And also the council ultimately would make money out of it, wouldn't they? Because you have to pay for the parking permits. 0845. Thank you very much, Catherine. Excellent stuff. 08459 455 555. Whose side are you on this, please? Are you on the side of the residents? You think it's unfair, or are you on the side of the commuters who are getting a bit of free parking? Because to park in the town costs an absolute fortune, doesn't it? We all know that. If we could all find. I've got my... you're still there?
Yeah, I've got a thought.
Go on. Oh. Why is she not leaving?
Would you be willing to pay to park outside of your front door?
How much?
I don't know how much it costs. What's a parking permit for a year?
A couple of £100 a year? Are they? Something like that? I don't know. I mean, that's London prices, I think.
Or do you just get a couple of cones? People were big on cones a few years back, weren't they?
Cones were good. I would always move the cones.
Yeah, but most people wouldn't, I would say.
Bins. Wheelie bins. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call on that, if you've ever encountered that situation. How did you deal with it? Right, this is BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Alice Glossop.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound starting to look busy in patches between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 6 for the M25. Also on the speed sensors, the A1M southbound really starting to build up at junction 7 for Stevenage. On public transport, Southern have no trains running between Milton Keynes and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering. Those are also affecting London Midland and Virgin trains, where services between Milton Keynes and Euston may be delayed by up to 20 minutes. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: Bedfordshire police are now using body cameras across the county. Officers began wearing them in Luton a fortnight ago, and it's now been extended to Bedford. Residents of Bishop Stortford are pleading with train commuters to stop parking outside their homes. They say cars are blocking the streets, stopping the bin men and emergency services getting through. The case of a woman from Hertfordshire who was given a do not resuscitate notice without consultation will be heard in the Court of Appeal today. Janet Tracy was fatally injured after a car crash in Abbots Langley, but the DNR was put on her records without her family's knowledge. The prison service is to make it harder for inmates to qualify for day release after a man serving 13 life sentences absconded. Michael Wheatley, nicknamed the Skullcracker, carried out numerous armed robberies, including one in Royston. The weather will be cloudy at first, but clearing to leave a mainly dry and warm day with sunny spells. Top temperatures around 17 degrees Celsius, that's 63 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Liverpool have lost their grip on the title race after losing a 3-goal advantage to draw with Crystal Palace. Liverpool are a point clear at the top, but Manchester City have a game in hand and a better goal difference. Here's the Liverpool manager, Brendan Rodgers.
There's no doubt. I think Manchester City will now go on and win it. We needed to win tonight to have any sort of chance to keep the pressure on going into the last game, and we didn't do that. It's bitterly disappointing.
St Albans City beat Chesham United 3-1 in the Southern Premier Playoff final. It means City are promoted to Conference South alongside champions Hemel Hempstead. Wycombe Wanderers remain in League 2 following Saturday's 3-0 win at Torquay. Wanderers manager Gareth Ainsworth says he's proud of his club's achievements.
This club, with the history it's got of the FA Cups, the Wembley appearances, the VARs and all the League Cup semi-finals, this is just brilliant to add to that. You know, what a day, and what a day the fans have had, you know, and I'm so proud to have played a part in it.
Mark Selby has won the Snooker World Championship for the first time. He beat Ronnie O'Sullivan by 18 frames to 14 at the Crucible. Afterwards, Selby dedicated the win to his late father.
My father passed away, died with cancer when I was 16, just before I turned professional, 2 months before I turned professional. And his last words to me was, obviously, I want you to become world champion. And I said to him, I will do one day. It's just a matter of when, not if. And thankfully today has come.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport with more at 7 o'clock.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I caught you. What are you doing in there, you two?
What? Nothing.
You're doing synchronised clapping. You're not watching Good Morning, This Is Britain again, are you?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Why are you fiddling with the TV controller?
I'm not.
You are.
Shush.
Get me doing it now. I'm going to play a song from a compact disc. We had such fun playing records yesterday, I've decided not to bring any in.
Oh, how do I...
I could hear the Charlotte woman from Good Morning, This Is Britain. Turn it off!
She is brilliant, though, isn't she?
She's great. Turn it off.
She's a vicar's daughter.
They cover such interesting things.
Yeah.
Look, there's Ben Shephard.
Shephard.
Ben
And his tie.
Right, okay. Right, you carry on watching
He's
that.
aged.
Right, okay, go away. So, this is my boys, my eldest... Listen, this is my eldest boys...
He has got one of those faces.
Oh, this is my eldest boy's favourite...
She does look lovely.
This is my eldest boy's...
Oh, sorry, Ian.
favourite new song. It's by Paul Revere and the Raiders. Heard of those? No.
I know Paul Revere is the one who said, "The English are coming."
Yeah, well,
He's still recording, is he?
They were also a band in the 60s who would dress up as soldiers from that War of Independence.
The red coats.
They would dress up like that. They're in blue coats here.
All right.
And they
so
would do synchronised...
Red coats were the baddies to them, of course.
Yeah.
It was goodies.
Okay, so they would do synchronised dancing. Anyway, they were huge in America in the 60s.
Great.
Oh, for goodness sakes. They were huge in America in the 60s. They never had a hit over here.
Oh.
But then I was
Probably because of their controversial name.
Oh, let me finish the story. So I was playing this in the car yesterday when I took the boys to the pirate park. And
Where's the pirate park?
It was near where we live. There's a pirate ship there.
Really?
Yeah, a pirate flag.
Oh, that's cool.
And one of my this is one of my
Has it got a bell?
This is one of my favourite things of being a dad. Telling off kids that are older than my kids.
Oh.
I love it.
Are you allowed?
Yeah, you are. When they're throwing sand at your boys, and your boys are 4 and 2, and those kids are 7 and 6, you say, "Oi, lads, stop that now." It's so exciting.
What if their parents were to see?
Oh,
They
I'd make
should
sure
be stepping in already.
I'd make sure their parents aren't nearby.
You're a bully.
No, I'm not a bully. I just like I am a bully. Anyway, so then we get home, and my
It's 3-0. It says on the telly.
my eldest is doing is painting a drain, and I notice he's singing this song as he's painting. Shall we?
Yeah.
It's a really good. Right. Okay. Do it, and then.
Do I have to pretend to paint a drain?
No, listen, we'll do this again.
So had you been playing him this song and then he was singing it?
So I took my boys, just enthusiastic at the end. So, great rehearsal, guys, let's go for one. I took my boys to the pirate park yesterday.
Excellent.
One of the great things I'm best at is telling off kids that are slightly older than mine.
That are not yours.
That are not mine. Anyway, I was playing this album. It's Paul Revere and the Raiders. Heard of them? No, you won't have. They were
yes,
huge.
they were
in
big in the
red coats?
60s.
They were
Blue
huge in the...
But we were red coats or something.
Yeah. Or something.
They were huge in the 60s. Oh, this is it.
Philistines. This is my eldest boy's favourite song. Thank you. Imagine a 4-year-old singing this.
This world ain't got no room for narrow-minded people. Now you better get ready, 'cause the change is about to come. If you got it good, I can help you bear it. If you got some good love, you know you better share it.
He didn't sing that bit.
'Cause sooner or later, we gotta all get together. We gotta all get together. Sing the song. We gotta all get together in this world. Take a look around, you can't see that we're all brothers. And I'll scratch your back if you just scratch mine. Now I'm no better than anyone I see, but God knows there ain't nobody better than me. And sooner or later, we gotta all get together. We gotta all get together. Everybody. We gotta all get together in this world. All right. Everybody here, put your hands together and sing. We gotta all get together. 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 We gotta all
If you're following me on Twitter, @IainLee, I've just tweeted some video footage of Paul Revere and indeed his Raiders. You think Gaga dress is weird? Man, you should look at those guys. Catherine Boyle has joined me in the studio. You can join me on the phone, but you have to dial in 08459 455 555. Let's have a look at the papers. And just to say, great news, 80s movies fans. Axel Foley is coming back.
Oh.
Beverly Hills Cop 4. In March 2016. The film is being produced by the original people. We're going to take Eddie back to Detroit. He's also going to be in Beverly Hills, so we're going to have some fun with him. You better have some fun with him, otherwise there's no point. Who can sing the theme tune?
Me.
Go on.
And so on.
I used to have to play that on the Bon Tempi.
Yeah, Adam Unsworth in my class used to. I had a crazy crush on him for that. I was only about 7.
Wowzers, 7, gosh.
I thought he was amazing on that Casio.
Yeah, I could play it as well.
He's a DJ now.
So am I. I'm a disc jockey. I've just been spinning some discs. Yeah, guys? There's not a lot in the paper today. I think that's the only story I've got. Oh, no, I've got a story. Here we go. Look at this. Girls... bras are so fiddly, aren't they? But they make your boobs look so pert and wonderful. You need them, but you can't always be bothered to wear them. Well, now you don't need to.
Oh.
Brits get Miracle Boob Op. Bra under the skin. It's only 2 steps. 1. Silicone cups are inserted under each breast, 1 centimetre below the skin. 2. Fine straps are then attached to the ribs.
Nice.
Using titanium screws. I wonder if they chose that metal deliberately. Titanium, you see? 3 British women have been fitted with revolutionary internal bras under their skin to lift their sagging boobs, says The Sun. I'm sure there's perhaps a little bit more to it than just lifting their sagging boobs.
It doesn't solve one problem, though, does it? When it's cold, everyone's thinking she's not wearing a bra.
She's smuggling
and
peanuts.
You don't want that. It's a distraction for everyone else, frankly.
While
for yourself.
traditional implants can droop after 5 years, the breakthrough keyhole method will keep boobs perky for more than a decade.
Hey, ladies, how about we just leave them alone? Stop messing with them.
Oh.
When will we ever learn?
The Sun's on fire today, actually. My sister, who ran off with my fiancé and had his baby, is now my bridesmaid.
Your sister?
No, this is a story.
Oh.
And the one... I'm not sure which is which. There is... OK, let's be honest. There is an ugly man, there is an ugly woman, and there is an all-right but startled-looking woman. You can see there from that... Now...
Oh.
She's all right, isn't she? But
how has he managed to get 1, never mind 2? I always wonder about that.
The ugly woman, and I say that with the greatest of respect to all ugly people. God knows I work with some of them. The ugly woman, there's a shot of her feeding the baby, and you can see her bosoms. She certainly doesn't need one of those operations. And she's got tattoos of tiny, tiny paw prints, 1 on each boobie. How classy is that?
Hey, knows all things right up.
A dirty cat's been walking... Hey, they're permanent! Brilliant! Let's have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
As the victim of a shocking double betrayal by the 2 people closest to her, Leanne Birch thought she could never forgive their treachery. But just over a year after discovering her fiancé was having an affair with her little sister, the 27-year-old is holding out an olive branch. And it was the bombshell news that Sister Hayley was expecting a baby with Jim, the man Leanne once planned to marry. I've got no... Already, 3 paragraphs in, I've got no idea who's...
It's like Tolstoy, isn't it? So many names. Who are they anymore?
You got anything?
Yeah. Our very favourite poet, stroke writer, Alan Bennett. Is he a poet? He's a writer. Diarist.
I was having a cup of tea with Mother in Camden Town, and when my bicycle...
That's Matt Lockwood, isn't it?
It's the same fella, yeah.
Right.
Who works on the show occasionally.
Alan Bennett may be one of our greatest living literary charmers, but he also has little time for English writers.
Oh.
The playwright said there were no writers in England who could tell me very much, adding that it was a much bigger fan of American literature.
Are you doing a voice?
Citing Philip Roth as one who he admires. He did concede, however, he was very ill-read. I just wanted to do the voice.
Now, we've said this before, and we'll say it again. Tall women with short men, no thanks, get out of here.
Unless he's insanely wealthy.
That's kind of weird.
No rules apply.
It's kind of weird, and we'll get people phoning up again. Oh, you can't say that. Well, you can say that, and it's weird, because there's a story here, page 27 of The Sun. Hi-do. A towering teenager holds hands with her pint-sized fella after he popped the question. Elisani de Cruz Silva, 18, this is the woman, who is 6'8".
Show me a picture.
Agreed to marry 5'4" Frankinaldo Carvalho.
Carvalho.
No, it's Carvalho. There's no I or E there. That's wrong, isn't it?
But they're both very attractive, and I'm sure they'll be very happy together. He does look a little bit like a child.
Is she doing that thing they used to do with the Anthill mob? Has she got like two other people under that dress and she sat on their shoulders?
The seven dwarfs.
Because her head is normal. That bit's normal length.
She's got really long legs.
Her feet are normal length, but then the bit under the dress is massive. I'm suspicious. I am suspicious.
Hey, the Olympians are going to sort out the cycling dangers.
What cycling dangers?
The dangers of cycling in these days on the roads and that.
Oh, it's dangerous, isn't it? How are the Olympians going to do it?
Britain's Olympic champion cyclists, including Sir Chris Hoy and local girl Don Good, Victoria Pendleton.
Well done, Victoria.
Have written to their councils to demand urgent action to improve road safety and encourage more people to commute by bike.
Oh, so they're going to sort it out by writing to the council.
And having their pictures taken next to bikes. Councils around Britain, from Southampton to Edinburgh, will receive letters today from 14 of the nation's most famous cyclists. Can you think of more than 3?
I've got 2.
Trot?
In a minute, let's just finish this.
Oh, and Wiggo, of course.
Wiggo. And the other fella that won after Wiggo. Emilio Estevez. It's not his name. There's another fella. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Four.
Imagine you get one from the one who's not famous. I've got a letter about cycling. I've got no idea who it's from. He says he's an Olympian. Chuck it in the bin.
Anyway. Oh, here we go. We've got a list. Hoy and Pendleton are joined by the gold medalist Laura Trott, local. Chris Boardman, Dame Sarah Storey, the Paralympic champion, and 9 other cycling stars in demanding a revolution for commuters on Britain's road. Would you want to come into work on your bike?
No, I live miles away.
You live miles away.
Yeah.
But could you park your car somewhere and ride a bike in a little of the way?
I could park my car in the car park and ride the bike to the front door. I'd be happy to do that.
I could possibly ride into work if I wasn't working such ridiculous hours, but I don't really want to. You come in all sweaty.
Yeah, well, Scoins comes in all sweaty, doesn't he?
You can always tell when he's ridden in.
We've got so we'll do the travel now. I've got a great story here about having it away with a robot.
What?
Yes.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 London bound, heavy going in patches between junction 11 for Dunstable and 7 for Hemel Hempstead. Also on the M25, the anti-clockwise carriageway, heavy going between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. On the speed sensors, the A1 southbound, very heavy between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. Then on public transport, Southern have no trains between Milton Keynes Central and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much. Oh, it's 6:46 exactly. It's Tuesday, the 6th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Police officers across Bedfordshire are now wearing body cameras. Residents of Bishop Stortford are launching a campaign to stop commuters parking in their streets. And the case of a Hertfordshire woman who was given a do not resuscitate without consultation will be heard in court today. Coming up, having it away with robots, but before that, let's get the weather with Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
For most of us this morning, had some rain overnight and still some residual showers making their way across all 3 counties, actually, for a time anyway. But the southwesterly breeze, it's quite fresh, are blowing those through quite quickly. Behind it, the cloud will thin, it'll break, we'll get some nice sunny spells, and by this afternoon it should actually feel very warm. We're looking at a maximum of around 17, maybe 18 Celsius in the sunshine. Can't rule out 1 or 2 quite heavy showers, though perhaps a rumble or 2 of thunder later as well. But like I said, that breeze really pushing them through quite quickly. Now, maximum temperature, like I said, up to around 17 Celsius. So overnight tonight, still some chance of a shower, but also some evening sunshine to enjoy. Through the middle part of the night, it should be dry, but then our next band of quite heavy showers arrives through the early hours of tomorrow morning. But the cloud, the wind, which we're hanging on to, and the rain keeps things relatively mild, minimum down to around 8 or 9 Celsius. A bright, dry start tomorrow, but scattered showers moving in, some heavy ones mixed in there, and we're also hanging on to this strong southwesterly breeze through Wednesday. Maximum temperature a bit cooler at 16 Celsius. And that's your forecast.
That's,
I like that one.
No, well, yeah, but it's meant to go to a trail then.
Oh.
Every weekday morning.
The shop didn't want to give me them back, so I went to the shop, paid them a fee to get my cylinders back.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
I went to speak to this company and I asked them what had happened. It took me absolutely ages to get through to anyone.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
After our last discussion about my cylinders, the governing body showed up at my house on the following day.
And we could do the same for you.
Thanks, Denise, and for the company for getting her cooker back up and running, here's your horn.
The JVS show, weekday mornings from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
We're just talking, there's a story about 60 kids all getting struck ill on an aeroplane flight all at once. And it's Catherine and I have been discussing throwing up on aeroplanes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been sick in a sick bag?
No.
They don't hold it. When it's compacted into a bag, there is a surprising amount of vomit. 2 heaves and it's full. And then the bag is warm. It's paper, so it's soggy. No, the stewardesses don't take it off. You've got to carry that thing.
You're responsible for it.
You're responsible.
My daughter
Unity.
threw up just as we landed in America after an umpteen-hour flight. No one helped us again. You feel terrible because you've made an awful mess.
Yeah.
You're trying to clean it up with, we had wipes, because parents. But it's just horrible. The kids, we got her into the loo as soon as we came off the plane, trying to sort of... She was damp all the way there because we tried to wash it all off. It was awful. It smelled like Parmesan cheese all the way to Atlanta, Georgia.
When I took my sister and her husband and my mum and my niece and nephew to New York years ago, how old was Dylan? He would have been... I don't know, maybe Pepper was... He would have been about 3. And he threw up when we got to the hotel. But the hotel were giving me such a hard time for various reasons. I was furious with this hotel because they'd muffed up. And he kind of threw up in the hallway. And we just wiped it up with a towel. And I was so annoyed, I just threw the towel into the stairwell, because no one uses the stairwells. When we left 3 days later, that towel was still there.
Oh.
Still there.
Nice hotel.
Here we go. Brits love machines. Okay. 1 in 6 Brits...
Careful.
I know,
I know what that pause means.
1 in 6 Brits would have sex with a robot in the future. Why not? A further 20... The robots from the future are hot, man. I've seen Terminator. A further 29...
Then they kill you, like in Blade Runner.
And like Terminator. A further 29% saw nothing wrong with others romping with an android, but 41% found the idea creepy. And it is the same survey as that one, because then it goes on to say, the survey also found 31% of people fear losing their job to a robot.
See, that's what the Times is commenting on, but the Sun went for the...
This is nuts, right? The last paragraph is... Nearly 40% of people think machines will pose a threat to the human race. What? Why are we building them then, for God's sake? If 40% of us think they pose a threat... But yes, I would definitely, if it was a hot robot, I would certainly... have sex with it in the future. I've
seen that Asimo that Honda made. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like a little spaceman, and it can go upstairs. I mean, at the moment, he's celebrating because he can go upstairs. I think it might be a while.
What's at the top of the stairs?
Why are they teaching him to go upstairs?
Little Asimo. Have you got one more, and then we'll do a record?
Top 10 products your baby doesn't need. Yeah. With first one and second time round, I realised quite early on that it's like buying, you're going to get married magazines. It's the same thing every time, and they make you feel like you're not doing it properly unless you buy all this stuff. But someone's done a top 10. Would you like to know more?
Oh, is that a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, why not?
Seldom used products such as baby washing bowls, the manual breast pumps now.
Oh, they're pointless.
Oh, my goodness. If you want to feel like Daisy the cow.
With the manual ones, all you get is a dropout.
It really hurts as well. Yeah. Oh, it really hurts. And the baby hammock.
What?
A hammock?
Why would you get a hammock for a baby?
Other items that end up gathering dust in the cupboard are the fabric sling. I disagree, mine was brilliant. The swaddling blanket. Yeah, my kids didn't like them.
Oh, no, when they were first born, the boys liked the swaddling blanket.
I think your baby either is I think, like many people, my husband, if we're in bed together, he always has to have some part of himself sticking out of the covers.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Whereas I like to be snuggled up.
No.
And babies are the same. So if they go for that, then all well and good. My kids hated it.
I have to have something between my legs.
Right, a pillow?
Yeah, a pillow or a bit at the edge of the duvet between my knees to stop my knees.
Well, you have got very long legs. Maybe it stops you seizing up.
Thank you.
Also, did you have this? The nappy bin. It makes a massive sausage of dirty nappies.
Yeah,
and you quite quickly realise that those things, they might be scented, but they don't take away the smell. Just bin them.
We had a friend that got the nappy. The thing is, never go round Mothercare or John Lewis or any of these places with a baby expert. Because all these stores have got people that will show you round and show you what you need. It's all guff. It's all guff. All you need is some Don't even buy size 0 clothes because they don't fit for long.
Here's this as well. Most pointless of all, however, is a product that fails to have us jumping for joy. The baby bouncer. Now, the seats are brilliant, because you can sit them while you're having a shower and all that stuff, and they don't move anywhere. But those things you dangle from the doors, my kids never got it. Did yours? Not without some prompting from me.
Yeah, they had a little go, but I was always worried because it's quite a heavy contraption. You clunk to the door. I'm always worried it's
hooks.
Yeah, I'm always worried it's going to fall off. So they did it a little bit, and it was cute for a while, but no, it didn't really do a lot.
Mine tended to use it just as a way of being nosy. They sort of stood up and very slowly turned around.
Yeah.
But the bouncing didn't happen.
If you want to give us a call on that or anything... Oh, we got Andrew in Bedford. Sorry, Andrew.
That's right, Ian.
You've been waiting for a while. What would you like to say?
I think this ridiculous that these police body cams, they're able to switch them off.
Well, the Bedfordshire Police have now got police body cams, and yes, they are able to turn them on and off when they want. Why do you think it's ridiculous?
Well, I mean, if you're a rogue policeman, you're just going to turn it off if you're going to do something that's, borderline against the law or against the regulations. I mean, with the technology nowadays, I mean, surely they could fit a device where you have to request permission to turn it off, and then it's activated by the headquarters or the control room.
It does seem a little bit suspicious, doesn't it? Particularly when the police integrity is being questioned more than ever before, that they can, flick it on and off whenever they want.
Yeah, well, it boils down to it. I mean, as you say, it protects the good police officers, and supposed to, but the rogue police officers are just going to be able to turn it off, and they'll come up with some excuse why they turned it off. I mean, I know all about this. My brother was a policeman for years, and it's one of the first things they learn is how to find out radio black spots, and then all they then, they were in a radio black spot, which is why they couldn't receive communication.
Oh, I see. Andrew, before I let you go, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Would you have sex with a robot in the future?
Yes, definitely.
I tell myself you don't mean nothing. What we got no hold on me, but when you're not there, I just crumble. I tell myself I don't care that much, but I feel like I die till I feel your touch. Only love can hurt like this. Only love can hurt like this. Must have been a deadly kiss. Only love can hurt like this. Say I wouldn't care if you walked away, but every time you're there, I'm begging you to stay. And when you come close, I just tremble. And every time you go, it's like a knife that cuts right to my soul. Only love can hurt like this. Only love can hurt like this. Must have been a deadly kiss. Only love can hurt like this. Only love can hurt like this. Your kisses burn into my skin. Only love can hurt like this. But it's the sweetest pain, burning hot through my veins. Love is torture, makes me more sure. Only love can hurt like this.
for beds, cards and bucks.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Things looking busy on the major routes this morning. The M1 London bound, heavy between junction 11 for Dunstable and 9 for Redbourne. Also the M25 anti-clockwise, slow going between junction 22 for London Coney and 19 for Watford. The A1M southbound, very slow now between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. On public transport, Southern have no trains between Milton Keynes Central and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. That disruption is expected until 8:30 this morning. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much indeed. So, the police in Bedford are wearing body cameras. It's been happening for a couple of weeks. They're filming everything that's going on. Well, I say everything. They can turn them on and off. What do you reckon? We'll find out more after the news with Lee.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: Bedfordshire police officers now wearing body cams, residents of Bishop Stortford in dispute with commuters, and questions about day release after an armed robber absconds from prison.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Police officers across Bedfordshire are now routinely wearing body cameras. That's to protect officers and reassure the public that the police are accountable. Police advisor Bernard Ricks from Bedfordshire says it's an important step forward, but there's still an issue about officers being able to switch them off.
These are new pieces of equipment. They're not in widespread use across the country yet. I think it's a very good question. Doesn't it create an issue by the police officer being able to turn them on and off? Although you can see that there are certain circumstances under which, for their own privacy, the officer back in the restroom would want them to be turned off.
Residents of Bishop Stortford are pleading with train commuters to stop parking outside their homes. Helen, who lives on South Mill Road, says residents have put up signs to challenge commuters.
It's a sort of non-aggressive, sort of passive stand, just so the commuters know where we're at and just to remind them that this is a residential area.
The case of a woman from Hertfordshire who had a do not resuscitate notice put on her medical records without consultation will be heard in the Court of Appeal today. Janet Tracy was taken to hospital after a car crash in Abbots Langley 3 years ago. Jane Draper reports.
Janet Tracy was suffering from advanced lung cancer when she was taken to hospital after a serious car crash. Her husband and daughters were distressed when a do not resuscitate notice was put in her bedside records. It was cancelled when they complained, though a second was later put in place after talks with the family. Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, where Mrs Tracy was treated, said a High Court judge had already ruled its doctors had acted in her best interests.
The prison service is to make it harder for inmates to qualify for day release after a man serving 13 life sentences absconded. Michael Wheatley, nicknamed the Skullcracker, carried out numerous armed robberies, including one in Royston. It's 60 years since Roger Bannister became the first person to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. In 1954, his achievement was compared to man's conquest of Everest. Sir Roger was recently asked if he ran the race for himself or for Britain.
I think I did it for both. I don't think I could distinguish, but there was certainly a feeling of it being a national event and something of a landmark for the country. But it had to be me attempting it, so it was entangled with my own effort.
In sport, Liverpool's lost a 3-0 advantage to draw with Crystal Palace. It means they lead the Premiership table by 1 point, but Manchester City have a game in hand. And Mark Selby has won the World Snooker Championship for the first time. The weather will be cloudy at first, but clearing to leave a mainly dry and warm day with sunny spells. Top temperatures around 17 degrees Celsius, that's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Yeah, I live in Milton Keynes, work in Milton Keynes.
It's all about open skies, lines of wonderful boulevard trees.
It's all about where you live.
So we always come over here for a cup of coffee.
5 minutes away from the city centre, you've got the countryside, but you've got all the London shops here if you want them.
And all this week we're featuring Milton Keynes, the big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots to talk about this morning, including cameras on cops, commuters in cars and rose bushes in bin bags. Find out what all that means in a bit. If you want to get in touch on any of that, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, after the success of initial trials, body cameras are now being worn by police in Luton. In an open letter on the Force website, Chief Constable Colette Paul admitted they might take some getting used to, but insisted they were necessary to provide a completely transparent account of officers' interactions with individuals, and only those involved in wrongdoing have anything to fear. Well, this comes in the wake of 2 recent cases of alleged police brutality against vulnerable adults in Luton. One of them, Leon Briggs, died after being taken into police custody last November. More on that in a second. But first of all, Justin Dealey has been out and about in Luton this morning. Morning, Justin.
Hello, Ian.
Oh, you're there, Justin.
I'm
Hello,
here.
mate.
Hello.
Now listen, you've been out talking to people about this. What have they been saying?
Yeah, most people this morning certainly in favour of this. I've been in Luton for an hour or so getting people's thoughts on these police cams. Here's what people had to say. Well, morning, sir. Police cams. What's your thoughts on this? A good move?
Yeah, we think it's a very good move. So we can see if the police are doing their job properly and they are not maltreating people, not doing racist activities and that.
I mean, have you been stopped by the police before and you felt that their attitude has been racist then?
Yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you be standing at the roadside because, I don't know, whilst you're standing out, they will stop you because you're a black man or so and ask you, what are you doing here? Probably you are waiting for a train or you're waiting for a friend. And sometimes it really worries people. So if they are wearing camera, it will improve things and they will know how to do their job properly.
So you honestly believe still that you are being stopped purely because of the colour of your skin?
Yes, sometimes it do happen. Not all of them per se, but it does happen.
So you think with these police cameras then, you'll be able to say to the police, look, you've got the evidence there yourself, you've recorded this, you stopped us for no reason yet again, and they can learn from those mistakes?
Yes, we think so. I personally think so. I personally think it will improve things.
Very much so. Evidence for both parties, and I think it's one of the wisest decisions ever. It works in America, so why can't it work over here?
And you would have no problem at all with a police officer talking to you and you being recorded?
No problem at all.
Well, a lot of people I speak to don't have faith in the police force. Do you personally?
Yes, I do. I give them my utmost respect because they have one of the hardest jobs in the world, because they've got to protect us and control crowds and things like that. So I think I give them the utmost respect, and I know they have a difficult job, and they have a lot of patience to do their job.
So people seem generally just to be in favour of it.
Absolutely. I mean, this, of course, is something we have spoken about in the past. Only the odd person I've spoken to says, I think this is a ridiculous idea because, as we mentioned there in the piece, this gives evidence for both parties. If you feel that you've been unfairly treated, that's been recorded, you have the evidence, and again, on the flip side to that, the police have the evidence. The only thing that worries me personally is the fact it's at the police's discretion when they can turn these things on and off. For me personally, they need to be on 24/7. If you're going to have a police camera, it needs to be on at all times.
Justin, excellent stuff. Thank you very much. I can't see how anyone could object to the basic principle of police wearing cameras. If you do, if you think it's, I don't know, an infringement on your civil liberties, then do give me a call, 08459 455 555. Well, I'm joined in the studio now by Liberty Louise and Donna Sidebotham from the Justice for Leon campaign group. Morning to both of you.
Morning.
Liberty, we've met before, and I know when we spoke before, your group has been calling for cameras for a while. When did you find out it was actually happening or going to happen?
Well, initially we found out that they were actually already being trialled a week after Leon Briggs died, and it was only because we said we want this as part of a measure of prevention that they said, well, actually, we are trialling them. So we said, right, OK, but obviously we'd like an input into how they were used. So they were being trialled anyway, and they were trialled for 6 weeks. And now, obviously, they've been introduced.
Do you think the system they've got in place is good enough? The police officers can turn them off and on at their own discretion?
Well, it's like, what's the point in having the cameras if the most vital of evidence and the most vital of footage is at the discretion of, maybe the people that need to be hiding something? It's like there needs to be total transparency. And as Colette Paul stated herself, as you just said, there's if you've got nothing to fear, nothing to hide, so why not have them on with all interactions?
Do you think that the fact that the police can turn them off when they want, do you think that renders the whole exercise pointless?
Absolutely. If you're being watched and your behaviour changes, if you're accountable for that footage being shown and exposed in a situation, it shouldn't just be an evidence gathering exercise for the police. It should be about public protection and obviously police protection. We're not saying, this is to catch the police out. We are saying it gives open transparency. If there's any false complaints against the police, for instance, it's there in front of you. There should be no problem whatsoever with it.
Donna, you've been looking at the details of the police's camera policy. What do you make of it?
Right, well, I've got a few issues with it myself, and obviously the group. Disciplinary, for one. The fact that it is discretionary, that's a big issue. All interactions with the public, switch on your camera. That's how we feel, and we feel the police should feel like that. Also, PCSOs and armed response units will not be using the body cams.
Oh, the fellas with the guns?
That's right, yes.
Gosh.
They will not be using the cams, so that is a big issue as well. And PCSOs as well, they still have the same sort of powers as police. They can arrest you, although, and to be honest, I think it'd be a good idea if they was involved in that as well.
Why do you think, because we often when we get police commissioners in or heads of police, they're always saying, we've got less officers, but we've got more PCSOs, we're really getting the number of PCSOs up. Why do you think they've chosen not to put body cameras on the PCSOs?
I've no idea, because we do have quite a few PCSOs in this town, I know that for sure. I don't know why they've chosen to do that. I can't see any reason why they would choose to do that.
There might be some people, Liberty, who say, well, hang on a second, I don't want to be filmed. I don't want to be filmed when the police come and talk to me. I don't want to be filmed if the police have pulled me over. Why should I be filmed? What would you say to those people?
Well, given that you're watched usually 24/7 by CCTV, wherever you go, you are being watched. We live in that kind of Big Brother society, and you need it to be working on your side. So therefore, okay, nobody likes their civil liberties infringed upon. But if you're in a situation where you really, really got in a situation with the police or something need to be filmed for evidence purposes, then you would welcome and you would be very happy that evidence was on camera. And to be honest with you, people talk about civil liberties, etc., but you wouldn't be waiting years for a conclusion on a case or having to go to appeal, because it is there in black and white. So the civil liberties issue doesn't run because you're watched 24/7 by Big Brother anyway. This could be for your benefit in the long run.
Do you think that if the police had been wearing body cameras when they detained Leon, do you think he would still be here with us?
I think that obviously in terms of evidence-wise, it would have helped the situation. It might have changed certain behavioural aspects of what happened with Leon. But at the end of the day, again, if it's discretionary, or things might get a little bit heavy or whatever, turn them off. So as much, if the body-worn cameras were on with a non-discretionary aspect to it, then it might have prevented what happened to Leon.
Why do you think they've gone for this discretion? They can turn it off when they want to. Why do you think they opted for that?
To protect themselves.
Yeah.
I'm
about
really
protection.
About all of that, to be honest, because
Tell me why.
I feel like a police officer could wind you up as a member of public, and then when you make the reaction, then switch on his camera. Look, this is how they were, and this is why we've beaten them up. Or
do you genuinely think that is a possibility?
I genuinely think that. Yeah, I've watched Traffic Cops and all that, and I've seen how they can be, and to me, the minute a police officer says calm down, you're in a desperate situation with them. And I think being told to calm down is the last thing you feel like if you're in trouble with them, or if they are troubling you even. So, yeah, definitely. I don't think... As soon as you speak to a member of the public, switch on your cam. End of. That's how I feel. Because any situation could turn into anything. And I do believe that police officers will wind up members of the public.
Liberty, this was a big part of the Justice for Leon campaign group, was the introduction of cameras.
Yeah.
It's happened. Do you think that two things. Do you think the campaign group is partly responsible for this introduction? And what happens next for you?
Right, OK. I think that they had to make it public that they were trialling them because we asked for it. So although a lot of people said, well, that's a victory, it is in terms that they've had to push it forward, but they're using an old policy on the cameras from 2007 that isn't relevant to things that happen today. It says it should be of maximum benefit to the police. That is what the policy, says now. Now, that needs to be changed, particularly after what happened to Leon and Farouk and all the other incidences across the country. In terms of the campaign, we will still be pushing for Leon's Law. It's gone through the council. Now we're asking the council to step up to their promise, keep their promise, and take it to Parliament as part of legislation on the new policy.
OK, listen, thank you very much for coming in. No doubt we will speak about this again at some point in the future. Liberty Louise, Donna Sy-Botham from the Justice for Leon campaign group. 08459 455 555. I can't imagine that there is anybody listening who doesn't agree with the principle of the police wearing body cameras. Surely it makes sense. It should protect all of us. What do you think? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 London bound, busier than normal at the moment. It's heavy going between Stoke-on-Church and Junction 4 for High Wycombe. Also, the M1 London bound, slow going between Junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. Problems on the M25 anti-clockwise. We've got queues between junction 22 for London Coney and 19 for Watford. Also looking very slow between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 16 for the M40. On public transport, Southern still has no trains between Milton Keynes Central and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. That disruption expected until 8:30 today. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much indeed. It's 7:16. It's Tuesday the 6th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Police officers across Bedfordshire are now routinely wearing body cameras. People in Bishop Stortford say they can't park outside their own homes because of commuters taking their spaces. And the prison service is making it harder for inmates to qualify for day release after a man serving 13 life sentences absconded. The weather today, mainly dry with some sunny spells.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Original British drama on BBC One. You believe you are fighting for your country.
Joan Livesey, you stand accused of aiding the escape of a German prisoner of war.
I know how it looks. I swear on my life it's not how it looks.
You know you are fighting for those you cannot live without.
It was just a letter. I was just asking if he was still alive. Joan's not a spy. She's just in love with the wrong man at the wrong time.
The Crimson Field, part of World War I on the BBC. Concludes on Sunday night at 9 on BBC One and BBC One HD.
That's great news, but I do struggle to understand why we're advertising television shows. It's a radio station. Anyway, that's their business. Let's keep our nose out of it. 08459 455 555. How would you improve the system of the police wearing body cameras? And there can't be... I cannot believe there is anybody listening who thinks it's a bad idea for the police to be wearing body cameras. There can't be anybody who thinks it's a terrible idea. It seems obvious to me that the basic principle behind it is a solid and is a good one that protects everybody, the police and you, the punter. 08459 455 555. Now, train tickets. Oh, they're expensive, aren't they? And parking. Gosh! It can cost a fortune. If you're doing it every day, it adds up. So, really, you can't blame anyone by trying to get around the only one of those that wouldn't involve a fine and a criminal record. The parking bit, obviously. So, you find a spot on a street nearby, no yellow lines, no parking meters. Everyone's a winner, aren't they? Well, everybody's a winner apart from the residents. And Vanessa Jackson is one of those. Good morning, Vanessa.
Morning.
So, Vanessa, where exactly are you? Don't give us the exact postcode and everything, but so what area are you?
We're near the road centre in Bishop Stortford.
OK, and what's happening?
Well, I can very much understand it. The prices of parking in town have really gone up and up and up. The station have put their car parking season tickets. They've also built flats on 2 of our car parks.
Brilliant.
Therefore, people are coming and parking on the surrounding streets. The streets nearest to the station have now been made no parking 8 till 10 in the morning because there's schools and things on them. But the next streets along, which is where I live, have nothing, which means that people are coming home from work or doing the school run, coming back, and they can't park anywhere near their house.
So, literally, the whole street is full of commuters who've parked up and then just got the train and gone off wherever they're going?
Yeah, they park up at all hours of the day and night and then just disappear. I mean, sometimes they get the train to the airport, sometimes they get the train to London. You know, the trains from Bristol go everywhere. And we do get cars left for 2 to 3 weeks while people go on holiday.
Gosh. that would frustrate. How long has this been a problem, Vanessa?
It's been a problem on and off forever. It's always been a little bit of a problem, but in the last 5 years it's got worse. A lot worse.
So where do you find yourself parking then? If you can't park in your own street, am I right? You haven't got driveways or anything like that?
No, these houses are pre-war. They're like terraced cottages and semi-detached houses.
So where do you find yourself parking then? Where do you have to go?
Miles up the end of the road. You know, anything up to sort of a 5 or 6 minute walk from your front door.
Have you or any of the other residents confronted these commuters?
We have, and, you know, they quite rightly say, well, why would I park anywhere else? I have to pay to park in the station. And it's £5.60, £5 in a different car park per day.
Yeah,
so
it adds up, doesn't it?
£100 a month minimum just to park. You'd save that, wouldn't you, by parking?
And it sounds like you can understand their point of view.
I can 100% understand their point of view. What the problem is, this impacts on people locally who've got small children, disabilities, things like that. They can't carry their shopping too far, or you've got buggies and lots of little children. You want to get as close to the house as possible. Therefore, people are then parking on the corners of Mill Street, which is a little road off of South Mill Road, and that means that narrows that road substantially. Therefore, delivery vans can't get in. I mean, Sainsbury's can't always get in, and Tesco's and things. But that means if they can't get in, the bin men can't get in.
Yeah.
So the bin men don't empty the bins. They can be anything up to... Because they do this silly 2-week cycle now where 1 week it's your recycling, next week it's your normal landfill waste.
Yeah.
So if a bin's missed, it'll be another 2 weeks before they come back again. So that bin won't have been empty for 4 weeks. I mean, they have been very good. We had a real big issue with this about a year ago. And they now, if they can't get down, they do come back at the end of their round. So, you know, the bin men have been brilliant with that. But it was a major problem. But my problem is if a bin man can't get down, or a Sainsbury's or Tesco's van can't get down, an ambulance or a fire engine can't get down.
People have been posting up notes, haven't they, asking people to be more considerate?
We popped posters in our windscreens just to say, my owner lives here, do you? And quite a lot of the commuters stopped parking down here for that couple of weeks.
Oh, did it work?
It did.
Oh, OK.
Quite amazing, really. So we've approached the town council. We had a meeting with our local councillor and asked him, could we even have some signage to say this is a residence area as a deterrent? I mean, don't even patrol it. Even if there's a sign up saying this is a residence area, people are going to think about parking there.
What, have you tried anything else? I mean, have you tried, you say the notes in your car windscreen, have you put notes under their windscreen wipers and things?
Some of the residents have, but that ends up in big confrontation.
Oh, dear.
And obviously we don't want to be touching on people's property and, you know...
Really? Did people get funny about you putting something under a windscreen wiper?
Oh, yes.
Oh, forget that. Oh, Vanessa. I'd tell them exactly where to go if people are always putting things under windscreen wipers.
Oh, I know, but, you know, they're just like, well, there's no signs here, I can do what I want.
Has anybody resorted, do you know, to naughty means? Like, I don't know, putting glass under cars or wheelie bins out?
Down quite regularly.
You've had what, sorry?
We had a gentleman who used to let tyres down quite regularly.
Oh, no, well, that's very naughty, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, to be honest with you, he did no damage to the car, as long as they got a pump in the car.
Yeah.
But, you know, just an inconvenience, really. Just to say, we're going to make it inconvenient if you park here. It's inconvenient for us. We'll make it inconvenient for you. See what happens. And I believe a few commuters stopped parking around here.
You would do, but if you came back and your tyres had been let down, you'd take the hint. I mean, we can't condone it, obviously, but, you know, well done him.
Rubbish. I mean, one car, actually, nothing to do with the residents. There was somebody parked and went to the station and then went off presumably on holiday from the airport. And they left their car here for 2.5 weeks. During the first week, it actually got broken into because they'd left their sat-nav in the window.
Oh.
So it got broken into. There was broken glass all over the pavements. The car was then not secure. We phoned the police and said, what do we do? They said, no problem, really. It's been broken into. it's not doing anyone any harm.
Well, okay, yeah.
Unfortunately, the person whose house it was outside was actually trying to sell.
Oh, no.
So that put all of their customers and their buyers off because it looks like a dangerous area. I have to say, in the years I've lived down here, that is very rare. Anything like that happens.
You say you talk about signs, having signs saying it's a residential area. People could still ignore those. What do you think the solution is, Vanessa?
What we would like would be just something like no parking 8 till 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because then they can't leave for work early. They can't, if you're working in London, you're going to be wanting to leave at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You can't do that if you can't park between 8 and 10. Just something that simple. Or even the traffic wardens to come down and ticket people who are parked dangerously, like on the corners of roads, on pavements, things like that, because they won't come down the road at all.
You lot were on the telly, weren't you? You were on the Parking Mad programme.
We were.
What's the response been like?
It's been amazing, actually. A lot of people have suddenly been made aware that this road isn't happy.
Yeah, a load of other people have been made aware there's free parking in Vanessa's streets. Come on, guys.
Yes, it's a double-edged sword, but the thing is you've got to jump somewhere to get something done. If we just sat here and said, oh, well, that's okay, it's never going to get any better. You make a bit of a profile, then, I think it can work as a deterrent as well, because people don't want to be on television, parking somewhere that's upsetting people. So there is those things. But there are other schemes we're trying to look into. I've been doing some research. There's a website called Park on My Drive where people can rent their drive.
Oh, yes, I've heard of this. This is where people advertise they've got a spare driveway, and for like a $5 or something, you can park there all day.
Yeah, or even less, if they can beat the town car park.
Yeah.
Or, even the... if we can get rid of the airport parking,
yes.
That would be helpful.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Because, if people are going for a few weeks and they could park on someone's drive for 20 quid, they're going to. And they know it's safe and it's secure and it's sort of off the road. I think people would pay a little bit towards that, whereas obviously the airport's going to charge you $200-300 or something stupid. So, if we could sort of help with that situation and perhaps get some support with commuters parking that's not so expensive. I think it's because car parks have been subbed out. I think they're now NCPs or something,
right?
Which are more expensive for some reason. I don't know why you get the same service.
Vanessa, listen, I can understand the frustration. I can sort of see both sides of this, but I can completely understand why you and your neighbours are upset by this. I wish you the very best of luck. Do keep in touch and let us know if anything changes.
We will do.
Vanessa, thank you very much. Vanessa Jackson. From Bishop Stortford. Well, I can see both sides of the argument. If you're illegally allowed to park in a street, you'd do it, wouldn't you? Of course you do. We've all done it, and you don't know, and you probably don't even think about the impact it's having on the local residents. But if in turn you're a local resident, you'd be getting well naffed off. Where do your sympathies lie on this one, please? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Let's have a quick look at the 3 main front pages. By main, I mean Express, Mail and Sun. Where's my Mail gone? Where's my Daily Mail gone? Gosh, I'm turning into my mother. The Daily Mail. Are you a psychopath? Take our test if you dare. And 1 in 7 hospital patients diabetic, costing the NHS £10 billion a year. 1 in 7 hospital beds is occupied by someone with diabetes, pushing the NHS bill to a record £10 billion a year for treating the condition. I don't know if they're against diabetes or for it.
Why are you saying that in your son's I'm not doing it voice?
I hate you. Campaigners warn the eye-watering cost of diabetes is going to get worse. I don't know who they're having.
Campaigners against people having diabetes. Is that right?
Aha! They are against people having diabetes because
Stop it now.
I'm going to read you the next paragraph.
Go on.
The illness is strongly linked to lifestyle factors, such as being overweight or obese, too little exercise and an unhealthy diet. It already accounts for about 10% of the total NHS budget, with most being spent on complications such as amputations and stroke. So they're saying it's your fault?
I know someone who got type 2 diabetes at the age of 11, and he wasn't a fat boy.
Disgusting. Well, he doesn't do enough.
On himself?
Yes, he did. He didn't do. It's his lifestyle choices. He was overweight or obese, had too little exercise and or an unhealthy diet.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was, according to the Mail. He's costing... That 11-year-old boy is costing me £10 billion a year. I've never read an anti-diabetes piece before, and I'm surprised it's the front page.
If you have diabetes, you should be thoroughly ashamed of yourself and stop it now.
Stop it. You're being very, very silly, you diabetics. Very, very selfish.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 London bound, really struggling in patches between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. Also, the M25 anti-clockwise, very heavy between junction 22 for London Coney and 16 for the M40. On the speed sensors, the A1M southbound, very slow between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. Then in Cheshunt, the A10 southbound, queuing between Turnford and the M25. Public transport. Southern still has no trains between Milton Keynes Central and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. That disruption is expected until 8:30 this morning. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you. So the reason the country is in debt and the NHS is collapsing, it's not the immigrants. We all thought it was the immigrants. No, it's not. It's those dirty diabetics.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: Bedfordshire Police are now using body cameras across the county. Officers began wearing them in Luton a fortnight ago, and the scheme's now been extended to Bedford. Residents of Bishop Stortford are pleading with train commuters to stop parking outside their homes. They say cars are blocking the streets, stopping the bin men and emergency services getting through. The case of a woman from Hertfordshire who was given a do not resuscitate notice without consultation will be heard in the Court of Appeal today. Janet Tracy was fatally injured after a car crash in Abbots Langley, but the DNR was put on her records without her family's knowledge. And the prison service is to make it harder for inmates to qualify for day release after a man serving 13 life sentences absconded. Michael Wheatley, nicknamed the Skullcracker, carried out numerous armed robberies, including one in Royston. The weather will be cloudy at first, but clearing to leave a mainly dry and warm day with sunny spells. Top temperatures around 17 degrees Celsius. That's 63 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Liverpool have lost their grip on the title race after losing a 3-goal advantage to draw with Crystal Palace. Liverpool are a point clear at the top, but Manchester City have a game in hand and a better goal difference. Here's Liverpool manager Brendan Rodgers.
They were always in control anyway. If they win their 2 games, they win it. So I think we needed to win tonight to keep the pressure on. So for us to not get the win is obviously hands a huge advantage to them. So I would expect them to go and win it now.
St Albans City beat Chesham United 3-1 in the Southern Premier playoff final. It means City are promoted to Conference South alongside champions Hemel Hempstead. Wycombe Wanderers remain in League 2 following Saturday's 3-0 win at Torquay. Wanderers manager Gareth Ainsworth says he's proud of his club's achievements.
This club, with the history it's got of the FA Cups, the Wembley appearances, the VARs and all the League Cup semi-finals, this is just brilliant to add to that. What a day, and what a day the fans have had, and I'm so proud to have played a part in it.
And Mark Selby has won the Snooker World Championship for the first time. He beat Ronnie O'Sullivan by 18 frames to 14 at the Crucible.
Mark Selby with this black for the world title, and it's there. He punches the air with both hands and shouts yes. The handshake from O'Sullivan. Mark Selby makes history. He wins the world title.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport. We've more at 8 o'clock.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We only got one paper. We were so enraged, outraged, engorged by our hatred for diabetics. Thank you, Daily Mail, for pointing that out. How could we ignore those scum suckers sponging off the NHS with their illness that's down to a lifestyle choice? Disgusting. The Daily Express. A super pill adds years to life. New 4-in-1 drug will save millions of lives. Gosh, wowzers, I'm in. Millions of Britons should be taking a super pill that will add years to their lives, experts said last night. Well, why aren't we? Why the hell aren't we taking this super pill, for goodness sakes? Scientists are calling for the 4-in-1 drug to be licensed across the world after the most advanced trials yet offered fresh hope to people at risk of heart disease. The cheap wonder pill replaces the need to take a cocktail of drugs. OK, yeah, I'll take it. Fine. I'll take that, then I can live long enough to have sex with a robot. Where were you 45 minutes ago? For goodness sakes. On the front page of The Sun, Miley Cyrus has done something. Melting Pot UK. Here we go. Melting Pot UK. A third of the population non-white by 2051. MPs warned not to ignore minority vote. Almost a third of the population of England and Wales will be non-white by 2051, a report says today. I can hear people at home shaking in terror, quaking in their boots. What? I can hear other people going, what? That we're not a third non-white now? It means the 8 million strong non-white minority groups will more than double in total to 20 million. The Policy Exchange think tank warns politicians will have to stop treating non-white voters as if they are one huge single ethnic group. Full story, page 2. Page 2. So at the moment it's... OK. Non-white vote, well... Does that worry? Does that concern you? Some of you will be concerned by it, I guarantee. But I wouldn't be that bothered about it, really. On the subject of parking, on the text... Mark the trucker says this station parking happens at all stations and some of the numpties do not give a damn about how they abandon their car. Well, I guess the thing is, if they're allowed to park there, then they'll park there. There's no rule that says they can't. All's fair in love and parking, surely. Phil says, can you let the lady from Bishop Stortford know that we do not have a right to park outside our properties unless a dropped curb is blocked, there's nothing she can do. Well, I think she knows she doesn't have a right, but... Ken in Redbourne, it's a simple answer for police cameras. Police are allowed to turn them off, but if a complaint is then made against the police, it's automatically assumed the complaint is true. We've been talking about diabetics, and according to the Mail, well, they're costing us £10 billion a year, and it's through a lifestyle choice. Well, let's speak to one of those diabetics now, shall we? It's Bethany in Bedford. Good morning, Bethany.
Morning.
Bethany, you're costing me £10 billion a year. How does that make you feel?
Well, we really can't help it.
Yes, you can, Bethany.
Can't help it if I'm diagnosed with diabetes, can I?
Yes, you can.
How?
Let me read from the Daily Mail, Bethany. How old are you, by the way?
9.
Okay. Oh. I'm not letting you off, though. The illness is strongly linked to lifestyle factors, Bethany, such as being overweight or obese. Is that you?
No.
Too little exercise?
No.
And an unhealthy diet?
No.
What did you eat for your supper yesterday?
Cheese string.
Oh! Cheese string! Oh, since when did cheese strings become part of a healthy diet, Bethany?
Since they didn't have any sugar in them.
What did you have for your lunch?
Can't remember.
Chips? Was it chips and pizza?
No, not at all.
Pizza and chips?
No. Salad.
Who's that in the background?
My mum.
Is she diabetic as well?
No.
Whole family of diabetics coming over here, stealing our NHS. When you hear things... When did you find out you had diabetes, Bethany?
I think I was 3.5.
When you were 3.5? I was going to say, so you kind of lived with it all your life then, so you've never known anything different?
No.
How does it affect your life?
Well, it's been quite annoying.
Yeah? Why is it annoying?
Because every time I eat, I have to do this thing where I have to take blood out of myself.
What? How do you do that?
Stick a needle in my finger.
Yeah. Gosh, every time you eat?
Yeah.
Why is that? To get like a sugar reading or something?
Yeah.
Okay. And what happens if it's bad? If it comes out bad? If you've got bad blood?
Then I have to have insulin put into me.
Okay. And do you carry the needles for that as well?
Yeah.
So actually, the Daily Mail, instead of picking on people with diabetes, should be maybe applauding some people with diabetes for being quite brave and having to do something that I certainly wouldn't want to do every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do your friends think you're a little bit cool because you have to take blood out of yourself after every meal?
Not really.
Oh, do they not?
No.
Are they disgusted by it?
Some of them.
Yeah, good. Well, the ones that are disgusted by it, do you go and do it in front of them?
No.
Oh. It's just an idea. It's just an idea. It might put them off. What have you got? What have you got today, Bethany? You back at school?
Yeah.
What's lessons you got?
Well, I've got lots. Maths.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I laughing because you got maths lessons, Bethany? I'm sorry about that.
Probably.
Maths lessons. I'm 41 in a month, Bethany. I will never have to have another maths lesson as long as I live. How does that make you feel?
I wish I was you.
Yeah, you do. I'm living the dream life, Bethany. Apart from the fact I'm fat and old. So you got maths. What else have you got?
Geography.
Oh, right. Okay. Wow. This is a tough day for you. Have you got any good lessons?
Not really.
Oh, man alive. Well, listen, I'm sorry you got a rubbish day at school. Make the most of it. If there's any chance you could pay back the £10 billion a year that you're costing me, that would be awesome. Is your mum got a lot of money?
Not really.
Have you got anything you could sell?
Yeah.
What have you got you could sell?
I've got a lot of books.
Oh, get rid of the book. Have you got an Xbox or a PlayStation or anything?
Yeah.
You make me sick. Is it what have you got?
Xbox 360.
Oh, it's only a 360. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, put that on eBay, and the money you've got, if you could send it in used notes to me, Bethany, that would be awesome. Bethany, you're a good sport. Thank you for calling. Have a good day at school.
Thanks.
Ta-ta. Bye-bye. Bethany there, costing you £10 billion a year. How disgusted does that make you feel? I'm really surprised by the front page of the Mail. There'll be people who've just tuned in and wondering why I'm bullying a 9-year-old. There's a point to it. It's the front page of the Mail. 1 in 7 hospital patients is diabetic. It's costing the NHS £10 billion a year. You go on to read, and it's not isn't this an interesting fact? Isn't this a diabetes epidemic? Mustn't we do something about it? It's quite accusatory. It's pointing the finger. The illness is strongly linked to lifestyle factors, such as being overweight or obese, too little exercise, and an unhealthy diet. It already accounts for about 10% of the total NHS budget, with most being spent on complications such as amputations and stroke. You dirty diabetics. Shame on you. Well done, Bethany. Good sport. Excellent call. 084. That'll make the podcast, Kels. That'll be in the pod. Pam's in High Wycombe. Morning, Pam.
Good morning, Ian.
Are you another dirty diabetic?
I wouldn't class it as that because I wish the Daily Mail could get their facts right before they put things on paper.
The Daily Mail getting their facts wrong, Pam? I won't hear a word of it. Go on, what would you like to say?
I like to say there's two kind of diabetic.
Yep.
Like that little girl and myself.
Yep.
There's type 1 and there's type 2. Type 2 is reckoned with your lifestyle. Type 1, even scientists cannot find a reason why it happened. So they should go and get their facts right.
So the type 1 diabetes is the good diabetes, and
There's such thing as good diabetes because I would give anything I own to not being a diabetic. You think I like to inject myself and test my blood and collapse in the street?
Pam, do you have to test your blood after every meal like Bethany does?
Yes, I do.
And how long? Sorry, I'm having a swig of coffee. How have you done that your whole life?
Yes. And now my son have it.
Oh man! And did you say you've collapsed in the street with this?
Yes. I collapse at work.
Why? I know very little about diabetes, apart from the propaganda I'm reading in the Mail. Why did you collapse, and what happened?
My pancreas is completely packed up.
Oh, blimey.
Yes, and they reckon if I get another one, it could happen too, because there's no reason why it happened. If you have to eat the right amount of food to go with the insulin you take. So if you don't have enough, if you walk in and there's pressure, your blood sugar could drop because you don't have enough food in you.
And when you collapse, what happens?
You have to have something very sweet, or they take you up. I work in the hospital. They take me up to A&E.
Oh dear. Well, Pam, listen, I wish you the best of luck. Teresa's in Luton. Morning, Teresa.
Hello, Ian.
Teresa, are you one of these diabetics that's costing me £10 billion a year?
No, but I know about diabetes because I help people with diabetes.
Oh, yeah.
And as that lady said, there are two different types. Type 1 is when the pancreas doesn't work properly at all, And that means that comes on, that's nothing to do with lifestyle.
Okay.
That comes on mainly in children and young people, and it means that they have to inject themselves for the rest of their lives and have insulin and everything, and some people have pumps. It's nothing to do with lifestyle. The type 2 diabetes is something that comes on later in life, possible. Could be to do with lifestyle, and that means that the pancreas doesn't work quite so well. It means that the type 1 means that the pancreas doesn't work at all, and the type 2 means the pancreas works part.
I think I'm getting this, Teresa. So what you're saying is type 1 diabetes is the good diabetes, type 2 is the bad diabetes, and we should all be angry towards the type 2 diabetics. Is that right?
Type 2 diabetes can be prevented if we have a healthy lifestyle.
So we should be angry with type 2 diabetics. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh.
No.
I want to be angry with someone.
Well, no anger. It's just the fact that we have to help people to lead a healthy lifestyle.
Should we be... Here's a question, Teresa. Type 1 diabetics, I like them. They can all come in. We'll sort them out. Go get a hospital bed, away you go. The type 2 diabetics, should we be paying for their treatment?
Yes.
Even though it's potentially a lifestyle choice?
Yes, but the thing is, what we need to do is help them to make healthy lifestyle changes. To make healthy lifestyle changes, to help them to think. But people with type 2 diabetes, even though they've had perhaps the healthy lifestyle perhaps is led up to it.
Yes.
There's nothing they can do to actually cure it. You know what I mean? But if they do change their lifestyle, it certainly will help.
It will help them, Teresa. Thank you very much indeed. Okay. So the Daily Mail is half right. We should be angry with the type 2 diabetic. The whole thing's ridiculous, isn't it? 08459 455 555. BBC Three Counties Radio. Travel news now. Here's Alice.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A40 London bound, queuing between the Denham roundabout and Gypsy Corner. We've had reports of an accident around the Master Brewer, which is adding to the normal morning queues. Also in Kings Langley, the A41 is queuing as you head towards the M25. On the M25 itself, anti-clockwise, very heavy between junction 22 for London Coney and 16 for the M40. The M1 London bound also really struggling between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. On public transport, Southern still have no trains between Milton Keynes and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. That disruption is expected until 8:30 this morning. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. 7:46, it's Tuesday the 6th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Police officers across Bedfordshire are now routinely wearing body cams. People in Bishop Stortford say they can't park outside their own homes because of commuters taking their spaces. And the prison service is reviewing which inmates are allowed out on day release after the disappearance of a man serving 13 life sentences.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's a rather grey and damp start, but already starting to see the cloud thin and break, particularly towards parts of Buckinghamshire, just over the Chilterns. We can almost see the sunshine. We've still got one or two showers working their way through, some of those quite heavy as well, but they shouldn't last for too long as they're blowing through on quite a strong westerly, southwesterly breeze. Now, sunny spells continue through much of the day. We may get one or two heavy showers this afternoon, but it could potentially get quite warm, looking at a maximum of around 18 Celsius later. Now, overnight tonight, it's a pleasant end of the day. Some evening sunshine, still one or two showers around, but it will dry out through the middle part before our next band of rain arrives through the middle part of the night, early hours of tomorrow morning. A few more showers as we head through to dawn, but that helps to keep things relatively mild. The minimum temperature overnight down to around 8, maybe 9 Celsius. For tomorrow, sunny spells, scattered showers, some of those heavy, but we're hanging on to that fresh southwesterly breeze. That's your forecast.
Every weekday morning from 9.
Good morning, welcome to the JVS show.
Your local stories.
Have you had to rebuild your life after being a victim of crime? Do you think it's inhumane to keep people in prison for life? Do you think that immigration needs to stop?
Your local life.
Why do 70% of this country feel immigration is wrong?
We've actually got an open doors policy.
I am just so angry listening to some of them people.
What the government are doing, they'll start introducing American-type sentencing, like 200 years in prison.
The JVS show.
British people are not xenophobic.
Weekday mornings from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number. I think we've managed to establish the Daily Mail is incorrect to point the finger of money spending and money wasting at the diabetics. I think we've agreed that. Well, it's a very odd front page of the Daily Mail. Why are they having a pop at diabetics? Why are they having a go at them? Because they're costing you and me £10 billion a year. Seems a strange group to attack. 08459 455 555. You can give us a call about that. Or you can also talk to us about police wearing body cameras. A good idea? Well, here's a story you might be interested in as well. One of the things that helps when you lose someone is having a quiet place to go where you can reflect and feel close to them. For some, it's a grave. For others, it's a park bench or a rose bush in a garden of remembrance. So imagine how you'd feel if you went to sit by the rose bush in the Garden of Remembrance and you found that bush, well, in a bin bag. That's what's happening at Hatfield Hyde Cemetery, where David Colburn's parents are buried. David joins me now. Morning, David.
Yeah, morning, Ian.
David, so tell me what's going on, what you found, what's happening.
Well, we basically, Ian, there's 192 plots, and despite every effort by so many people, they've gone ahead and desecrated these plots. They've ripped all the rose bushes out. You have the pictures, and it's an absolute scandal and disgrace, quite frankly.
When did you find out this was happening?
It was really sort of January when the first letters went out. We weren't given an option in that original letter to say that we didn't want the work to go ahead and that we wanted a meeting, etc. There's been no transparency. They've not replied. They've stalled. You know, it's an absolute scandal, Ian, seriously. We've tried everything. Absolute petitions, Facebook pages. There's so much support against this. They're just not listened. There is no transparency. These people are arrogant. You know, the guy at the top I wrote an email to, the reply I had was quite frankly disgusting. And you're more than welcome to see that if you wish.
Yeah, please do send it in. So, David, what exactly have they done? Are your parents... I'm going to ask some questions that I know it's kind of close to the anniversary of their death, so I hope this isn't too upsetting.
No, that's fine.
Are your parents actually buried there, or is it their urns? What has been desecrated, in your opinion?
What you've got a 2-foot square plot.
Yep.
Both my mum and dad are interned. Their ashes are interned there.
Yep.
They assured us that the removal of the rose bush, which is... I suppose let me try and get this across. It is a focal point, OK? You know, whether you believe this or not, when I used to stand at my parents' plot, I would hold that rose bush. And because that rose bush went into the ground, OK, I felt that I had a connection with my parents. I can't have that connection anymore. That's been ripped out of the ground, supposedly without damaging or disturbing even the remains. That is just simply cannot happen. The pictures prove it. The mess that has been made there is beyond, reproach, really. But the nuts and bolts of it are, I'm back 3 years now. 3 years to when I lost my mum. I was a broken person, OK? They have taken me back 3 years to that point. My anger at the moment and fight and passion against this is stopping me from just imploding on this phone to you, OK? We've done everything possible. These people have not listened. It is not correct. My parents brought me up. They taught me the difference between right and wrong. This is wrong. This is an absolute error. They've ripped these things up. Now, we don't really know exactly what we're getting, OK? But the nuts and bolts of it are, you've got in place 192 plots. They are not regimental. People like me have put them in place, so it's not regimental. They're going to put in a completely regimental for want of a better word, mass grave type garden thing. When people are going to be standing in front of the new plaque, they're not even going to be near their loved ones. And let me say this: I bumped into a lady at the crematorium the other day who was in pieces. I had to hold that woman's hand, and she said two things to me. She said, "I've turned up here. I never dreamt I would be like this." She said, "It's absolutely awful." And all she wanted, like my mum, and this is what she was told when she purchased the 10-year agreement on that plot, was to be able to rest, to die in the notion that she would be able to be laid to rest next to her husband. The response to that question, when she asked it recently by the council, is that they would try very hard to place her as close to her husband as possible.
Oh, that's nice of them.
It is.
Isn't it?
That woman leaves this earth not even knowing she's going to be next to her husband.
Why are they doing this, David?
They're doing it, the official line, Ian, is, they need to create more space, obviously, for people that, need to bury their loved ones. And we completely understand that, and we completely empathise with it. But there is space everywhere in the cemetery, Ian. They started work at the entrance. Why not fill the entrance up first, see what it looks like, see people's reaction to what it looks like? Because I'm telling you now, it is not in character with the rest of the cemetery. Instead of just, going ahead with this thing, the target date for completion is June the 1st, all right? These people have got to stop going on about ticking boxes and budgets and targets and performance reviews with their bosses. This is a human issue we're talking about now. Go back to some old school values, for crying out loud, and just think what this has done to people. It's just beyond forgiveness at the moment.
What's happened to the rose bushes? Were you given the option to take them home with you?
Yeah, we were given the option if we wanted to have the rose bushes, but again, there's a lot of people that don't even know about this, Ian. They've not been able to contact everyone. I've had people that have contacted me on Facebook within 2 hours saying they don't know anything about it. Now, without trying, I can find them. They haven't been able to. Those rose bushes, I can only assume, because you can't get any answers off anyone, okay, are either waiting to be collected or they are there because the people who own those rose bushes aren't aware of the work that's being done. Those rose bushes probably by now are dead. They've been walloped into a bin bag and just left there. What I'm saying is it just shows that, again, the lack of empathy at what they've done with those. People were walking down the estate saying, what is this about? They actually thought it had been one guy said to me, has this all been vandalised? That's what it looks like. But they're very clever at what they say, what they do, what forms they fill out, and times. They've done this so many times. These people think they are untouchable, Ian. I'm going to touch these people in places they never knew existed. And it won't be of a sexual nature, I can assure you. I'm absolutely going to fight this to the end. If anyone from the council is listening now, okay, it's very simple. The work stops now. You give us a meeting, a proper meeting, a transparent meeting, where you guys can prove to us that this had to be done. It's all about money, Ian, all right? It's a money-making exercise. They can rake in tens of thousands of pounds when they start allocating these new plots.
David, I tell you what we're going to try and do. Catherine, can we try and get... We can't promise this because they don't always... they don't like me. Can we try and get the council on at the same time as David and chair... or can we ask them if they'll come on and have a reasonable, rational conversation about why they've done this?
Sure, OK.
And, even an apology or something, or a sign of empathy would be helpful.
OK.
David, we can't promise anything, but we will. Catherine's the best person to try and get them to come on. So hopefully we'll get something, and we'll see if we can get you back on with them.
That's fabulous, Ian. Thanks for your time. Thanks everyone for the support, and everyone that's going through this. So you've got to stay strong, and let's see what we can do.
David, thank you very much indeed. I know it's I think it's a week after the 3rd anniversary of his mum's death, so tough times all around. David, I appreciate your time. If you want to have your say on that, 08459 455 555 is the phone number. You can also send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. You can. There's a noise in here. Did you hear that? Sounds like there's somebody in here.
Yeah, it's happening in here as well. I think is there roadworks around?
What's that? Listen. Not the typing, Kath.
There's a large humming and then there's a bang.
There's the bang. Listen, Catherine, shush, please. Catherine, can she hear me?
Yeah.
Can you? Well, why is she ignoring me?
She doesn't like you.
Well, OK, could you ask her to stop typing?
Kath?
Yeah.
Can you stop typing for a sec?
No, I'm typing something really important. It sounds like you're just bants.
No, well, listen.
I can hear it. What do you want me to do? I mean, yeah, it does sound a bit like Fraggle Rock, but...
Well, I was just checking that it was happening, blimey. Didn't expect the kind of Spanish Inquisition.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 anti-clockwise, very heavy between junction 22 for London Coney and 16 for the M40. Also delays on the M1 London bound, looking slow between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. The A1M southbound also struggling between junction 9 for Letchworth and 7 for Stevenage. On public transport, Southern have no trains between Milton Keynes and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. That disruption is expected until about 8:30 this morning. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. Coming up in the last hour of the show, it's 8 o'clock. Well, you know, we'll be talking about Remembrance Gardens, we'll be talking about parking, we'll also be talking about the police wearing body cameras. Good idea? We'll talk more after the news with Lee.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: Bedfordshire police officers now wearing body cams, residents of Bishop Stortford in dispute with commuters, and questions about day release after an armed robber absconds from prison.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Police officers across Bedfordshire are now routinely wearing body cameras. That's to protect officers and reassure the public that the police are accountable. But Liberty Louise from the Justice for Leon campaign group in Luton says there's still a massive issue with officers being able to turn them on and off.
It shouldn't just be an evidence-gathering exercise for the police. It should be about public protection and obviously police protection. We're not saying, this is to catch the police out. We are saying it gives open transparency. If there's any false complaints against the police, for instance, it's there in front of you. There should be no problem whatsoever with it.
Residents of Bishop Stortford are pleading with train commuters to stop parking in their streets. Vanessa Jackson, who lives there, says she can understand why people don't want to pay railway station charges, but it's a real problem.
This impacts on people locally who've got small children. You want to get as close to the house as possible. Therefore, people are then parking on the corners of Mill Street, and that means that narrows that road substantially. Delivery vans can't get in. I mean, Sainsbury's can't always get in, and Tesco's and things. But that means if they can't get in, the bin men can't get in.
The case of a woman from Hertfordshire who had a do not resuscitate notice put on her medical records without consultation will be heard in the Court of Appeal today. Janet Tracy was taken to hospital after a car crash in Abbots Langley 3 years ago. Jane Draper reports.
Janet Tracy was suffering from advanced lung cancer when she was taken to hospital after a serious car crash. Her husband and daughters were distressed when a do not resuscitate notice was put in her bedside records. It was cancelled when they complained, though a second was later put in place after talks with the family. Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, where Mrs Tracy was treated, said a High Court judge had already ruled its doctors had acted in her best interests.
The first national study of asthma deaths has concluded that people are dying because of complacency about the illness. Researchers found that in nearly half of cases, asthma sufferers didn't receive any medical help during their final attack. The prison service is making it harder for inmates to qualify for day release after a man serving 13 life sentences absconded. Michael Wheatley carried out numerous armed robberies, including one in Royston. Residents living near the prison he ran off from are concerned.
If he's that dangerous, then he should be under lock and key and not be allowed out.
I don't think he should be in an open prison, to be honest, really, no.
There's no way they should be out into the community. Well, it is very worrying.
In sport, Liverpool lost a 3-0 advantage to draw with Crystal Palace. It means they lead the Premiership table by 1 point, but Man City have a game in hand. The weather will be cloudy at first, but clearing to leave a mainly dry and warm day with sunny spells. Top temperatures around 17 degrees Celsius, that's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
We moved here when children were younger and that, and we've put them through schooling here and that.
It's all about where you live.
It's a developing city, so you see it now, but in a few years' time it could be bigger, it could be better.
And all this week we're featuring Milton Keynes.
Everything you need under one roof, yeah.
It's a nice place to have a shopping spree, have a walk around.
The big tour. BBC Three Counties Radio.
And suddenly it's 4 minutes past 8. And I'm flagging this morning. I don't know why. I went to bed really early. I went to bed so early, I woke up at one point and was staring at my alarm clock going, what on earth does that say? Oh, it says 9:30. I couldn't read my radio alarm clock all night. I kept squinting at it going, I don't know what that means. Anyway, the end's nearly in sight, and a professional broadcaster in the shape of Jonathan Vernon Smith will be in at 9 o'clock, so don't panic, Mr. Mannery. Lots coming up, including more on the police in Bedfordshire wearing body cameras. They'll be filming, well, not quite everything. They'll be filming what they want to film. Good idea, bad idea? And more about whatever you fancy, really. You can give us a call, 08 459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Police in Luton are now wearing body cameras in an attempt to protect officers and reassure the public. The trouble is, the cameras can be switched on and off at will. A flaw in the plan, according to campaigners, demanding answers following 2 recent incidents of alleged police mistreatment of vulnerable adults in the town. In an open letter on the Force website, Chief Constable Colette Paul insisted that innocent members of the public have nothing to fear. Well, what are your thoughts on this, please? 08459 455 555. These people in Luton, speaking to our reporter Matt Lockwood, support the idea.
There are a lot of people in our society who take things to the extreme. They have no feelings towards other human beings, and one of them happens to be the police. They do great service for the community, and yeah, anything to protect them, I'm up for it.
But don't you want policing by consent rather than by camera?
It's open to debate. There's a lot of opinions flying around at the moment, but my opinion is I'd rather see the police feel safe when they walk in the streets, when they look after us, because there are some people out there who will do things that other people would not do. And not everywhere in Luton you got CCTV cameras. Not everywhere in Luton is a safe place. It's a lovely town. I love my town. I won't live anywhere else. But I just want everyone to be protected, and one of them is the police.
So you would know then, if police are wearing cameras, that they're protected, but also would you feel a bit more protected as well?
Yes. I'll give you an example. If I was in a scuffle with somebody and I'm the innocent victim, having a camera there would either lessen the tension, or you may record something that could be given as evidence later.
Safety is the first thing, so I think definitely worth it.
And would you feel more confident if your interaction with the police has been filmed?
For example, if I'm stopped and then I've been recorded and stuff like that, I think I'd be more safer in every single way. For example, if they're trying to intimidate me or anything, it'll be all recorded. If they're trying to be nice to me, it'll be recorded. Better than arguing and stuff.
It will stop things like what happened to Leon Briggs, just over there. People arresting someone, if the police have got cameras on them, then stuff like that won't happen.
Well, listening to that is Sophie Khan, a solicitor, advocate and legal director of a charity called the Police Action Centre, which provides independent advice in cases of police misconduct. Morning, Sophie. It's a good idea, isn't it, for the police to have cameras?
Morning, Ian. I don't think it's a great idea for frontline officers to have cameras. Definitely firearms officers specific incidences, maybe domestic violence, a specific operation, then definitely have a camera there, so there is some kind of oversight as to what the officer's doing, but not as frontline policing, not every officer to have cameras, because we do have to have, policing by consent, we do have to have police officers trusting the police without having the camera there to back up their version of events.
But the police have proved quite a lot over the past few years that some of them cannot be trusted, and therefore we need some form of evidence for us as citizens, don't we?
But those officers shouldn't be in the force.
But they are.
But they should be removed, or they should be trained in a way so they are able to do their job properly, and so there is trust between the community and those officers.
But we quite often don't know they're in the force because we have no evidence to back them up. Members of the public who believe they have been wronged by the police often aren't believed. And so these corrupt and rogue police officers, rogue is a better word, can get away with it. These cameras would surely help eradicate those rogue officers.
But how would a rogue officer be identified by wearing a camera? He would be able to, or she would be able to switch it on and off at will. It doesn't help the situation.
Well, that's the flaw with the system, and so therefore you're probably agreeing with me, they should be on all the time.
It can't be on all the time because they don't have a battery life of that long, and also we don't want CCTV, the police carrying a CCTV camera on them all day. But what we want is...
I wouldn't mind that. Hearing some of the stories we've heard over the past 20 years, I'd love it if the police... the battery isn't an issue, of course that can be resolved, but I would love the police to be constantly filming so that they would be held to account, as would members of the public.
The way to do that is to have highly trained officers who are able to engage with the community and have the respect of the community, and that way there will be proper policing in Bedfordshire and other areas, and also there will be that trust that the community need from their police. Without that, the camera is not the answer. The use of a camera is not the answer to the issues that underline the problems that we have with the police today.
I naively assumed, I'm a white, middle-aged, middle-class guy I never really been bothered by the police. I always naively assumed that they were full of upstanding men and women who respected the law, who respected people and carried on their business in a proper way. Well, reading the papers over the past couple of years, it turns out that lots of them aren't respectable. There are rogue police officers, and it's all well and good saying they shouldn't be in the police force, but they are. So we need some way to get back public trust in the police. And just saying, well, let's get all the dodgy ones out, that ain't going to cut it with a lot of people, is it?
Well, we have to get the dodgy ones out. It has to
But we can't catch the dodgy ones because they're so clever.
It's not about you catching them or me catching them. It's about their employer, the police force, catching them. Because similar to doctors, lawyers and accountants, we have very strong regulators who, if we step outside the line, we are then, before the regulator. The same thing has to happen with police officers because of the amount of information.
But why doesn't it happen now? Why doesn't it happen now?
There's a movement. There's a College of Police.
Too slow. Why isn't it happening now?
Because it takes time.
Well, how long do we give them? The police have been around for, 130 years or something like that. They've had that long to sort it out and they've not got it right. Why should we give them any more time?
They've only recently set up the College of Policing. It was only set up last year. So that's going to take time to embed. And it's only after that we're going to really see a different approach to policing, a different training approach. I think it's going to be very similar to
that's going to take. That means, Sophie, it could take 30 years for it to filter through the system to get rid of the police that are dodgy now. And for those people who have lost people in police custody, those people who've been beaten up by police, those people who've had the police lie about them, 30 years just isn't quick enough.
I don't think it's going to take 30 years because already they're changing the training and selection process of the members of the public who want to join the police. So there's different ways that they're tackling the issue, but the issue is being tackled, so it becomes a bit more professional and more regulated, and so when someone does make a mistake, they're gone.
Well, how long is that going to take to work? And is that going to bring back the people that have been lost, that according to their families, by corrupt police officers? Is that going to, change? Is that going to change anything?
It's going to change the way that the police engage with the public. It's going to change the way that I engage with the police. And also, I think lessons need to be learned, and if they're not learned, then that's that's something for the police.
But lessons, Sophie, lessons haven't been learned. You go to Hillsborough, you go to Plebgate, you go to all of these stories. The police have got it wrong. And listen, I'm a big fan of the police. I think they get it right the majority of the time. But when they get it wrong, they get it spectacularly wrong. And they cover each other's backs and they lie. They haven't learned. And there will be people listening to this going, they have had long enough to sort this out. They haven't got it right now. Let's let them all have cameras. Let them be on all the time. Let's have the police held accountable.
The camera's not the answer. We can't have it on all the time. There's no the retention of the video. It's not possible to have 24 hours for the retention.
Well, it wouldn't be 24 hours, would it? It will be 8 hours, the length of their police shift, which is completely doable.
No, I don't think it is.
Well, it is. If you go on Amazon, you'll find a camera that can do it.
Retention fees will already cost millions and millions of pounds.
The cost shouldn't be a factor in stopping the protection of the public.
It won't protect the public. It won't protect anybody. It will just be a total waste of money. Private companies making money out of the public funds. It's something I've looked into, and it's something I'm not convinced about.
But why don't you think? Why don't you think? The firearm police in Bedfordshire won't have the cameras. Why don't you think it will protect them? If the cameras are on,
they should have the cameras because that's a specific operation.
If the cameras are on all the time, it will protect the police officers, because apparently in the studies it's calmed down members of the public when they go, "Oi, son, look, I've got a camera." And surely it will protect the members of the public if the police are being a bit gobby, a bit lippy, or indeed give them a wallop, because it will stop them doing it.
It won't be possible to have the camera on all the time, so therefore...
Why do you keep saying that?
Because it's not possible.
Why?
It is not... it's within... the structure of how the camera is set up. It cannot be on all the time.
OK, they have two cameras. When one finishes, the other one takes over automatically. Forget the technical aspects of the camera not being able to be on for more than 4 or 5 hours.
You have to look at the technical aspects.
OK, well, I've given you a solution. I've given you a simple solution.
Forward to a different argument.
Well, then Sophie, I've given you a simple solution. You have two cameras. They're 4 hours each. When one stops, the other one automatically kicks in. So that's not a problem.
It's not the way I want policing in this country to be.
OK, well, we've got past the technicals. Why?
I want it to be between the members of the public and the police officer. I want them to have trust towards their police.
They don't, though, Sophie. I speak to people...
But I want that to happen. And that's where the money and that's where the attention should be going, not towards cameras.
I want it to happen, but it isn't, and it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, it has to be looked at then.
It's being looked at, Sophie. It's being looked at.
Cameras are not the answer.
What is the answer then? How do we build up the trust? We've got 30 seconds. You keep saying cameras are not the answer to building up trust between the public and the police, a situation which is getting worse. So how do you do it?
A further barrier.
How do you do it?
Further barrier by having a camera there.
How do you do it then?
We have to have public engagement with the police and the...
Or coppers turning up at youth centres and things like that, going, "Hey guys, we're just like you."
Or events where they are explaining how they're policing their community.
They do, and no one trusts them. They turn up and people don't trust them.
No, I don't think it's at that level.
It is, Sophie. I talk to people every other day where... they don't trust them. We have people in this morning who don't trust the police.
I understand that, but there has to be money and resources spent on that rather than on cameras.
So you would rather spend the money on the police turning up at carnivals and going to youth centres?
Not carnivals, structured events where there is engagement regarding how they are policing their community and what the public want from their police in that community. And that's
there was an incident recently where the police held an evening because there was accusations that a young autistic lad had been roughed up by the police. The police turned up at an evening supposedly to calm things down. It made situations worse because
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about after the event issues. I'm talking about before the event. Before the event,
where they rough up someone.
Where there is the community wants to speak to their local police, and that needs to be regular meetings. What we want from our police service, like a service, what do we want? You go to a solicitor and ask them, "I need help with X." It's the same kind of situation. And you tell the police, "We need help with X." And then they provide that service.
Sophie, thank you very much for your time. Let's put that out there. Sophie Khan, solicitor, legal director of a charity called the Police Action Centre. She thinks that cameras are not the way forward, that the way forward is to build up more trust by having, the police at events and stuff. I'm not convinced. 08459 455 555. Thank you for waiting, Alice.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We've had an update in from Simon on the A41 as you head towards the M25, just around the Hemel Hempstead turnoff. There's been an accident involving 6 vehicles. No emergency services are on the scene yet, but that delay will really add to the normal morning queues. On the M25 itself, anti-clockwise carriageway, very heavy between junction 22 for London Colney and 16 for the M40. Also, the M1 still struggling London bound between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. On public transport, the Piccadilly line is suspended between Arnos Grove and Cockfosters because of a signal failure. Tickets being accepted on local buses. And on Southern, ongoing problems, no trains between Milton Keynes and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. Their disruption is expected until about 8:30. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sophie. It's 8:18. It's Tuesday, the 6th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Police officers across Bedfordshire are now routinely wearing body cams. People in Bishop Stortford say they can't park outside their own homes because of commuters taking their spaces. And the case of a woman from Hertfordshire who had a do not resuscitate notice put on her medical records without consultation will be heard in the Court of Appeal today. The weather today, mainly dry with sunny spells.
BBC Three Counties Radio. BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
It's all about open skies, lines of wonderful boulevard trees.
Inviting everyone to where you live.
As a whole, it's a lovely place to live.
Everything you need under one roof, yeah.
Just a useful, friendly place. Everything you need's on your doorstep.
And it's just nice. It's nice for going for walks and things like that.
And all this week we're featuring Milton Keynes.
I live in Milton Keynes, work in Milton Keynes.
If you've got a story everyone should hear about, let us tell them about it.
We're not far from anything green, really, if you think about it.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
It's a place where you can learn and you can do anything in the world.
Milton Keynes is a lovely, friendly, brilliant place to live.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Morning.
You've been swimming or something? What are you doing with your ears?
No, this... they don't work.
The one-legged.
Hang on a minute. Oh, they work.
Wonderful.
Who'd have thought we could have working headphones? Look at us. We're both looking... have you noticed I'm slightly sun-kissed today?
You're looking a little bit blushed, yes.
I sat out at a barbecue on Sunday evening, had a couple of Pinot Grigios in the sunshine, and I caught the evening rays for hours.
Beautiful.
And as a consequence, I burnt my face.
I'm just feeling grey and tired. I'm really tired
You don't look grey and tired, you look quite well.
I did spend a couple of hours in the Pirate Park. With the boys. Pirate ship.
What's that?
It's a pirate ship in a park, and I was very impressed at the way I told off older children when their parents weren't nearby. Stop that! We won't. Stop throwing sand, please, children. Thank you.
Do you like garden centres?
No, I hate them.
Oh.
Why?
Well, I was just going to suggest somewhere lovely for you to take your children. I went yesterday.
Go on.
Somewhere I haven't been for many, many years,
Yes.
and anyone who lives in my particular part of Hertfordshire, they'll know it well. Vanstone Park Garden Centre. You ever heard of Vanstone Park?
No, I don't know Vanstone Park.
They've got a little train, like a little diesel-driven train.
Yeah.
So mum and dad can go and look at shrubs and tubs, and the children go round in this little... your kids would love it.
The boys would love that.
Wouldn't they love it?
Yeah, fantastic.
You should go there.
What's this, Dick Van Dyke Park? Where is it?
No.
Van Dyke Park.
Vanstone Park.
Vanstone Park. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, go
The
there.
boys would love that.
Yes, there's a train.
Are you offering to take them? I'm confused. So you're going to take them?
No. You can take your own children, but there's a train.
Excellent.
How can life get any better when you're a small boy?
Not for a 4-year-old, it can't.
Than a proper petrol-driven train.
They love all that stuff.
Smoke comes out of it and everything.
They love it. I can't stand it myself.
No.
What's on your show? It's in a big font today. Look,
It is, isn't it? Yeah. It's been a long weekend. Coming up on the big phone in today, is it time everyone in this country was forced to vote? There's a very interesting article in the Mirror today.
Yes.
They're covering this new poll that's been carried out, and it shows that 60% of young people who can vote for the first time next year won't bother to turn up. 3.3 million young people will be eligible to vote for the first time at the 2015 general election, but only 41% said they wanted to. When asked why they wouldn't vote, most said politicians seem more interested in big business, pensioners and people who own houses than they were in young people. Well, from 9 this morning, I want your views. Is it time that everyone in this country was forced to vote? I mean, election after election, we seem to have fewer and fewer people bothering to vote. Well, we've got to stop this, haven't we? I mean, if we're going to go round the world forcing democracy on people, haven't we got to at least...
Force it on our own people? Like in North Korea?
Well, kind of. Yes. But I wonder whether if we were told that we have to vote... There's no option, like they do in Australia.
You have a fine or something, don't you, if you don't vote in Australia? Like $30 or something.
Yeah. So if you were made to vote, and if you didn't vote, you'd get fined, perhaps then people would say, OK, well, I don't really like any of them, but actually... I will vote for the one that I think is the least bad. At least it would force them to take part in democracy.
Could you, in this world that we are hypothetically talking about, could I go and deface my paper? Would that count as a vote? Because supposing I don't like any of them, they're all. I don't agree with anything.
But you're going to like one of them better than the others.
Well, yeah, I'm going to like one of them better than the others, but it doesn't mean I'm going to like that person.
No. But then that's what democracy is all about very often, isn't it?
Voting for the least worst person.
Well, really, yes. Okay, I mean, how many of us genuinely agree with every single policy that a party or an individual stands for at an election? You don't, do you? I mean, that would be impossible. So what you have to do is you have to think, well, which party has most of my... Which one do I agree with mostly? Or which person do I think has got the best kind of attributes out of all of these five, most of whom I don't really like? That's what it's about, isn't it? So it's forcing people to make that decision so that they actually exercise democracy.
Do you not see the contradiction in that
I do.
It's good.
But I do. But if only 41%... Of 3.3 million young people who'll be eligible to vote. I mean, do you remember the first time you were able to vote? So exciting.
It was exciting, but I...
Oh, what did you do?
I blew it.
What?
I blew it. I voted for the Natural Law Party.
The ones that did yogic flying. Are they still around?
They were 22 years ago. And the reason I did it is because the Beach Boys and George Harrison had done a concert for them.
Have you ever seen their yogic flying?
It's brilliant. So I voted. What a waste. They didn't get in, guys, in case you're wondering. When the European elections, I think the 22nd, 23rd of May, a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
And I noticed our voting papers were at home, our cards. And then I went back the next day and I couldn't find the cards. And I was looking for the cards. My wife had put them in the bin.
What?
I fished mine out of the bin and left it in prominent display on the mantelpiece so she could see that I was going to vote.
Why'd she put it in the bin?
She couldn't care less.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I was shocked.
But she's a political animal. I can't understand this.
I know. I was shocked. So I got mine out and put it on a prominent place so that she would know I was disgusted by her behaviour.
Think of the efforts that women went to secure your wife with that chance to go and exercise her right to vote.
She's thrown Emily Pankhurst in the bin.
Hasn't she?
Hasn't she just?
Well, from 9 this morning, I'd love your views on this. Is it time everyone in this country was forced to vote? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right, let's go to John in Nickwell. Morning, John.
Good morning.
John, what would you like to say, sir?
First of all, I'm a type 2 diabetes.
Oh, you're the bad diabetes, according to the Daily Mail.
I served a long time in the military. I do hours exercise every morning.
Yes.
Keep my sugar levels as level as I possibly can.
Yes.
And I was as fit as a lot till I was...
Well, hang on a second. Let me get the Daily Mail. Let me just check. Are you overweight or obese?
No.
Do you do too little exercise?
I do an hour every day.
Well, it must be your unhealthy diet then, John. I want my £10 billion back, please.
Unhealthy diet, I eat this diet you can possibly have.
No, it seems a strange group of people to attack, but that's what the Daily Mail have done.
Yeah, bunch of nutcases.
I couldn't possibly comment. You've called in about the police as well. Go on.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I've been fighting these since 1986, trying to get justice for my wife, who lays in bed here with a broken back. I had a terrible accident and things went wrong, and I found out the place had no licences.
Sorry, what place? Without mentioning any names, what kind of place?
It was a club that everybody knows.
OK, so she injured her back in a club. OK, go on, carry on.
Dance. They had no music and dancing licence. I now believe they had no licence. and they had no completion certificate, and they'd altered the listed building without proper permission.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get to the High Court. It takes us 10 years to get there, and we lose the case. That's how strong this club is, you know.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of members in the hierarchy. Anyway, what happens now, there's a friend of mine's a chief inspector of Hertfordshire Police, tried to help me. Said, take all these calls, John, all these nasty calls you're getting, do this, do that. So I've done it. The only people who knew was that I was doing this is police.
Yes.
My home was broken into, all the tape stolen.
Hang on, so what phone calls were you recording?
Terrible. Terrible. We're going to burn me out here. I'm going to do this.
Who was going to again, no names, but who was going to burn you out?
These people I'm fighting.
Okay. And so you recorded the police, you recorded the phone calls.
Yep.
The tapes went missing.
The house was broken into.
And you suspect, what, it was the police?
Well, who would know? Who knew that we were doing it? Only them.
You didn't tell any friends or anything?
One senior officer, God rest his soul, he died, Neil Burns, hell of a nice fellow. He said to me, John, he was on the murder squad at Hertford. I'll get some really expensive equipment and put in there. We'll do this, we'll do that, do that. And the man got cancer. But he said to me, whatever you do, tape every one of them calls.
John, listen, we've got to end it there because I'm out of time, but an interesting story. Thank you very much indeed. Not quite sure how that ties in with the police having cameras, but maybe. 08459 455 555. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. It's coming up to 8:29. Let's get the travel now. Here's Alice Glossop.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A41 around the Hemel Hempstead turn-off as you head towards the M25, there was an accident involving multiple vehicles, and that will really add to the normal morning delays along that stretch. Thanks to Simon for phoning in with an update there. The M25 itself, anti-clockwise, still heavy between junction 22 for London Coney and 16 for the M40. Then on the M40 itself, London-bound heavy going between junction 6 for Watlington and 4 for High Wycombe. On public transport, the Piccadilly line is suspended between Arnos Grove and Cockfosters after a signal failure. Tickets are being accepted on local buses though. And on Southern, still no trains between Milton Keynes and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. That disruption is expected to finish shortly. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: police officers across Bedfordshire are now routinely wearing body cameras. That's to protect officers and reassure the public that the police are accountable. Residents of Bishop Stortford are pleading with train commuters to stop parking outside their homes. They say cars are blocking the street, stopping the bin men and emergency services getting through. The first national study of asthma deaths has concluded that people are dying because of complacency about the illness. Researchers found that in nearly half of cases, asthma sufferers didn't receive any medical help during their final attack. People in Hatfield say that work on a cemetery in the town amounts to desecration. The council is replacing rose bushes at Hatfield Hyde Cemetery with a new earth mound. And the weather will be cloudy at first, but clearing to leave a mainly dry and warm day with sunny spells. Top temperatures around 17 degrees Celsius. That's 63 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Liverpool have lost their grip on the title race after losing a 3-goal advantage to draw with Crystal Palace. Liverpool are a point clear at the top, but Manchester City have a game in hand and a better goal difference. Here's the Liverpool manager, Brendan Rodgers.
There's no doubt I think Manchester City will now go on and win it. We needed to win tonight to have any sort of chance to keep the pressure on going into the last game, and we didn't do that. It's bitterly disappointing.
St Albans City beat Chesham United 3-1 in the Southern Premier Playoff final. It means City are promoted to Conference South alongside champions Hemel Hempstead. Wycombe Wanderers remain in League 2 following Saturday's 3-0 win at Torquay. Wanderers manager Gareth Ainsworth says he's proud of their achievements.
This club, with the history it's got of the FA Cups, the Wembley appearances, the VARs and all the League Cup semi-finals, this is just brilliant to add to that. You know, what a day, and what a day that fans have had, you know, and I'm so proud to have played a part in it.
Mark Selby is the new snooker world champion after defeating Ronnie O'Sullivan at the Crucible. Selby was 10-5 behind but won 10 of the next 12 frames. Selby now tops the world rankings.
No better feeling. I mean, obviously, once you've won it now, that's it. Whether you only win it once or more than once, nobody can ever take it away from you. And every year I come back to the Crucible and I see that list of winners, the Roll of Honour. Obviously, my name's going to be on that, which is fantastic.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport with more at 9 o'clock.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. We've had a pop at diabetics. We're talking about the police wearing cameras. And a little catch-up after the firefighters' strike at the weekend. Firefighters are now back to work as normal after a weekend of strikes and picket lines. We were assured on Friday that there was adequate cover to ensure public safety for the duration of the strike and that firefighters wouldn't be prevented from going back to work. But it would seem this wasn't quite the case in Buckinghamshire. We can catch up with what went on in that county this weekend with Mick Osborne as area manager. He's Bucks Fire and Rescue's third in command and was in their operational support room for most of the weekend. Morning, Mick.
Good morning.
Mick, how did you cope at the weekend?
Our contingency arrangements again proved, that we can cope under normal circumstances, and we responded to a number of calls. All the calls that we did receive, we actually responded to. So our contingency arrangements, were in place for the whole weekend.
Was it a challenge?
Events like this are always going to be a challenge. It's not something that that we would like to happen on a regular occasion. Obviously, we'd like to have our normal levels of cover in place. So yes, it's always a challenge.
But you feel that you coped admirably and the public weren't at risk?
Yeah, absolutely. We did cope with every call that we received and we responded to, and we had a good spread of cover across the county, ensuring that the public was best protected as we possibly could make them over the weekend.
OK. We spoke to station manager Jeremy Williams on Friday. Let's have a quick listen to this. We've heard, Jeremy, from the Fire Brigades Union in Bucks that striking firefighters aren't being allowed to return to work at the end of each strike period. Is that right?
That's not true, because there will be... at any time, firefighters are allowed to come to work. If they let us know that they're going to be working, then they can let us know that that's the case.
OK, so striking firefighters are allowed to return to work at the end of each strike period?
Should they wish to work, then they can certainly return to work at any time during or after the strike period.
Is that right, Mick? If firefighters wanted to work the rest of their shift, they could?
Yeah, absolutely. And some actually did take us up on that offer, and they did actually come back to work, which is all credit to them.
Because we've been told that firefighters who were willing to work were turned away because it was claimed there was enough cover.
No, that's not true at all. As I say, we did have crews that volunteered to work over the weekend and were actually used as well.
So no firefighters were turned away when they turned up for work after the strike because you claimed there was enough cover.
No firefighters that volunteered to work during those periods of action where partial performance wasn't being accepted were turned away at all. Those that volunteered to work continued to work.
So I've been told that firefighters called up at 8 o'clock in the morning and were turned away.
No, that's absolutely not true. They weren't turned away. They were asked if they were going to be paid for that period of the shift. And they were told, no, you wouldn't be paid. However, if you wish to volunteer to work, then you can work.
So, all right. So now we're getting somewhere. So, if firefighters have been on strike, they wanted to return for the rest of their shift after the strike. They weren't turned away, but they were told they wouldn't be paid.
Yeah, this was a decision that was taken some months ago by the Fire Authority that partial performance of shifts would not be accepted, which is normal practice in many occupations.
So they're being punished for striking?
No, absolutely not, no.
Well, if they're returning after a strike to their shift, prepared to work their shift, and they're being told, you can come back, but you won't be getting paid for it, that is a punishment, isn't it, for striking?
No, it isn't a punishment at all. It's normal practice in many occupations that partial performance of shifts is not accepted.
Is it normal practice across?
Welcome back to work.
Is it normal practice across the fire brigade?
It's happened in other fire and rescue services. Yes, it has. Not just this time, not just this period of industrial action, which has been going on over the last number of months, but in previous disputes, both national and local disputes, this has been the case. Yes.
As far as I'm aware, Bucks was the only county in England and Wales to stick to that this time.
I obviously can't comment on other counties, but I don't know whether that is strictly true.
I'm going to put my neck on the line and say yes, it is true that Bucks was the only county, and if I've got this wrong, someone will correct me. Bucks was the only county to turn away firefighters who wanted to finish their shift after the strike. Bucks was the only one to turn them away.
We did not turn any.
Bucks was the only one to refuse to pay them for the rest of their shifts.
I can't answer that. You must have more information than I.
Okay, so why did you do it?
As I said to you, it was a decision that was taken some months ago.
Okay, why was that decision taken?
Because obviously we want to reduce the cost of this dispute to the taxpayers of Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire.
But that wouldn't have costed.
A lot of money.
That wouldn't have costed the taxpayers any extra money to pay them for the rest of their shifts. That would have cost them what it normally would have costed them.
No, that's completely wrong, because obviously we have to put contingency arrangements in place, which costs the authority and costs the taxpayers, and therefore if we've got contingency arrangements in place and we're paying striking firefighters as well, then obviously that cost increases.
So I guess you owe a big thank you to those people, the firefighters that did choose to continue their shifts, even though they knew they weren't going to get paid.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It was, it was a really brave and bold decision made by those firefighters, and we thank them for that, and as the public of Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire do as well.
Would they have been covered completely by their insurance?
Yes, absolutely. All those questions were answered prior to the dispute happening. We'd had dialogue with the Fire Brigades Union and with our staff to ensure that they were very, very aware of all of the facts around it. And yes, absolutely, they were insured.
So the firefighters that came back to work to finish their shift and weren't getting paid, they were completely insured as per normal?
Absolutely.
And there was cover for their family should they be injured or killed in the line of duty?
Absolutely, as in line with our standard procedures.
And if there had been a claim against them by a member of the public, that would have been covered as well?
Of course they would. They're employed by us, so we're vicariously liable for any of their actions whilst they're employed under our direct leadership.
They were only volunteers, though, weren't they?
No, but we've made that completely clear with our frequently asked questions. They knew exactly where they stood, and whether or not they're volunteers, they're covered by insurance.
So all the volunteers were covered by the same usual insurance?
Absolutely.
There was an accident in Milton Keynes on Friday, wasn't there?
Yes, there was, yes.
2 people died.
That's correct.
Is it true that firefighters just down the road in Great Holme were not called out, even though it was reported at 10 a.m? A full 2 hours before the walkout?
Our contingency arrangements did respond to that, but what I will say is that no intervention or no different intervention by any of the emergency services would have changed the outcome of that incident.
So, just to clarify, is it true that firefighters down the road were not called out, even though it was reported at 10 a.m, a full 2 hours before the 12 p.m. walkout?
We had other firefighters just down the road that did respond.
OK, but the firefighters that were closest weren't called out?
I've not measured it, so I don't know whether they were closer or not.
Only were turned out to the job, and only 2 retained firefighters turned up. They were the first fire appliance on scene.
No, that's not correct. We had a resilience appliance that was on the scene first.
OK. The second appliance took 20 minutes to get there?
No, the second appliance was turned back by the initial officer that arrived, made an assessment at the scene, and didn't require the second appliance.
OK. Mick, are you proud that Bucks is the only county that refused to pay firefighters who are willing to work partial shifts?
It isn't a question of being proud, it's a question of being pragmatic.
No, but are you proud of it? Are you proud of it, or are you ashamed of it? Which?
Neither. I'm completely impartial to it. It's a decision that's been made in order to limit the cost to the taxpayer of Buckinghamshire and Milton Keynes.
It sounds very noble, but it sounds a little bit unfair. If workers are prepared to work part of their shift after going on strike, then it does sound, Mick, and I know you're saying it's not, it does sound like a punishment.
Well, I can assure you it isn't a punishment, and it is normal practice in many other occupations within the public sector as well.
Bucks was the only county to force that this time.
I don't. As I said to you, you may have more information than I. I'm not sure of that. I know that on previous strike occasions over Christmas and New Year, other services did adopt the same stance. I don't know this time.
Mick, thank you very much for your time. That's Mick Osborne, Area Manager for Bucks Fire and Rescue. He's the third in command there. 08459 455 555.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
You can give us a call about that. You can give us a call about the police wearing cameras. You can give us a call about those dirty diabetics. Why are we so against diabetics? Well, the Daily Mail is telling us. I couldn't work out what the angle of this story was on the front page of the Mail. I've got it now. I couldn't work out if it was, isn't it awful? We've got a diabetic epidemic. We need to help these people, or those dirty diabetics. It's the latter. It's the latter. 1 in 7 hospital patients is diabetic, costing the NHS £10 billion a year. The third paragraph is where the Daily Mail shows their colours. The illness is strongly linked to lifestyle factors such as being overweight or obese, too little exercise and an unhealthy diet. It already accounts for about 10% of the total NHS budget, with most being spent on complications such as amputations and stroke. So he's having a pop at the diabetics, isn't it?
Because we all know everyone loves an amputation or a stroke, and they're doing it on purpose.
Oh,
for heaven's sake.
It's incredible. It's an incredible front page. I do recommend you have a look at it, diabetic or not. 08 459 455 555. Earlier on in the show, we spoke to Sophie Kahn, who is a solicitor. I'm going to cough. Excuse me. We spoke to Sophie Kahn, who is a solicitor, about people wearing, the police, wearing body cameras. She thought it was a bad idea and it wouldn't help rebuild trust between the public and the police. She thinks the police should go to youth centres and hold events. Lynn's in Hazelmere. Morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Iain.
Lynn, what would you like to say?
Well, I loved the interview. I thought it was fantastic, but she wasn't going to budge an inch, was she? And I just wonder what planet she's on, really. I think the cameras would be an absolutely brilliant idea. And I think from the police's point of view as well, to protect them, not just to protect the public. And I think it would be brilliant, and it really, really would help the people that, don't trust the police now, because there's an awful lot of people who don't. I think it would help greatly. I don't think these...
I struggle to... she's the only person we've spoken to this morning who thinks it's a bad idea. And if they're arguing about, well, they haven't got a long enough battery or a big enough memory to record a full shift, if that's the only argument she's got, there are ways around that. That's an easy thing to sort out. You have 2 cameras working in sync, and when one stops, the other one starts. Easy, that's done. But the police already do turn up at events. They do go to youth clubs. They do go to schools. But people still treat them. People still have a reluctance to believe them. It needs more than that, because that's not worked for the last 30, 40, 50 years.
No, I quite agree. There's lots of events around where we live in Hazelmere, and actually I have a good rapport with our local police because I run sheltered housing units, so, they pop in and see us occasionally, but they run events, but hardly anybody turns up because it's usually during the day or whatever, and... Most people are at work, kids just think, oh, you're joking, I'm not doing that. So it's hard to get certain parts of the community to engage with them. We've just recently had a spate of graffiti all around the area. It's stopped now, thankfully.
Yes.
It makes a huge difference to where you live when you walk down the road.
Hey, now listen, we went to... I've just realised I've had my microphone down really low for the whole show, and now I'm boosting it up. When I was at the Pirate Park yesterday with the boys, which is a really nice park in a nice area, and I haven't been there for a while, but they've graffitied all over the pirate ship.
Yeah.
And you can say, and some of it is bad language. A lot of it's just about football clubs. Lots of it's bad language. I'm thinking, hey, come on, there are 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old kids here. Why would you go and draw a picture of a winkle on a pirate ship?
I know, but that happens, doesn't it? I don't know whether they get a kick out of doing it or what, because they're not... Nobody ever sees people graffitiing, do they?
No.
I don't know how they do it, whether they do it in the middle of the night or whatever, but nobody ever catches them.
Lynn, thank you for that. So I have a suspicion who it may be now, who did that. I think it's Catherine Boyle. You've just mimed the drawing of a winkle perfectly.
Everyone can do it in 2 seconds flat, something we all learned at school.
Oh, Catherine.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 anti-clockwise, very heavy between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. The M1 itself, London bound, still slow going between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. The A1M southbound queuing between junction 9 for Letchworth and 7 for Stevenage. And there's an accident around the Hemel Hempstead turnoff on the A41 as you head towards the M25. It's involving multiple vehicles and it will really add to the normal morning delays there. On public transport, the Piccadilly line has minor delays between Arnos Grove and Cockfosters after a signal failure. And Southern Rail still has no trains between Milton Keynes and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much. Just discussing the merits of cereal with my team. Seriously, Kelly, buy a box of cereal. It will save you a fortune. 8:46. It's Tuesday, the 6th of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. There's been a mixed reaction to the news that Bedfordshire police officers are now routinely wearing body cams. Residents of Bishop Stortford say they can't park outside their own homes because of commuters taking their spaces. And people in Hatfield say the council has desecrated a cemetery by removing rose bushes that mark their relatives' resting place. Coming up, more of your calls. You can talk about the fire brigade strike. You can talk about the police wearing cameras. You can talk about whatever you want, for goodness sakes. It's that kind of show. 08459 455 555. We'll chat after the weather with Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. Well, things already starting to brighten up. We can already see the sunshine for most parts. The further east you are, we've still got just one or two showers moving through, but also a bit of cloud. But it's the sunshine is on the way. Now, it's patchy cloud and showers maybe this afternoon. One or two quite heavy showers expected, but in the most part, it should be dry, bright, sunny, and we should get some decent temperatures out of it as well. We're looking at a maximum of around 17 Celsius later on today. Now, we could get one or two showers this evening, but other than that, some late evening sunshine to enjoy. Dry through the middle part of the night, but more showers arriving through the early hours. The minimum temperature down to around 8 Celsius, so relatively mild, certainly milder than the last few nights. As we head into tomorrow, a similar sort of day, scattered showers, some of those heavy. We've got a fresh southwesterly breeze, which we have got today. I forgot to mention that, this southwesterly breeze, with the maximum temperature tomorrow just a touch cooler at 16 Celsius. That's 61 degrees in Fahrenheit. That's your forecast.
Thank you very much. Now, how about a bit of murder?
Nick Coffer on BBC Three Counties Radio.
How about a bit of murder and death, particularly local murder and death from the 19th century?
I mean, one of the crimes in the book, I think there's a potential there for miscarriage of justice.
There until 3 o'clock this afternoon. More great music to come in the next 2.5 hours. Every once in a while, I like a little bit of epic on this programme.
Nick Coffer.
Today, I'm just outside of Aylesbury at Stoke Mandeville. I'm at Hula, which is an animal rescue centre in the paediatrics ward of the L&D Hospital. I'm in St Albans.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Calm down, I'm just saying. I don't look at Facebook during the show now, so if you could bang them over to me.
So I have done.
And I know you've banged them over to me, and I know you. I can see them.
Yeah, that's what I've done then.
I know.
Mum, Dad, stop it.
So you're welcome.
I've had a message on Facebook from Dev Rupp Matra. Okay. Hey Iain, are you interested in doing a TV comedy show with me? Because, yeah, that's how all TV comedy shows start, by someone getting in touch with you on Facebook.
You're going to do it then?
Yeah, I'm up for it, definitely, Dev. I'll send you an email. The police wearing... Oh, J-Dog!
Morning, boss.
J-Dog!
Yeah.
J-Dog's had a nut cut. He's gone and had a nut cut.
Yeah.
J-Dog's had a nut cut. Woo. And it looks darker than it did yesterday. You had a little bit of dye in there, fella? Or
no.
Did the spray tan kind of go a bit high?
Spray tan over the weekend wasn't particularly good. It was a busy weekend, so the tannage was kept to a minimum.
Keep the tannage to a minimum. You bought spray tannage for your cousin, you were saying. That's generous and weird.
Yeah, no, I just thought she was looking a bit pale, a bit like a ghost. So I said, look, I'll tell you what, I'm going to help you out on this one occasion. Have some of my fake tan. There you go, my darling. Go and enjoy.
Now, was it? Do you spray it on yourself, or do you go to a booth? I'm genuinely interested because Sorry?
Are you thinking about next week's big awards night? Is that what you're thinking? Turning up orange?
I'm thinking maybe on Monday I should go in a slightly warmer colour, a slightly darker colour.
I tell you what, boss. You leave it to me. You come in tomorrow, okay? 9 o'clock when your show finishes. We shall go upstairs.
What?
You can take your clothes off, not all of them, and I'll tan you up. There's an offer you can't refuse.
I think I can refuse that, kind of, Catherine.
You need paper pants.
Yes. Don't worry, I've got paper pants.
I don't wear pants.
No.
I'm not using your second-hand paper pants.
No, they're fresh. Don't worry, they're fresh.
Fresh.
That's a daisy.
Fresh.
How do you clean paper pants?
You throw them away afterwards.
Just so decadent. Now, listen, we've got you on for something serious. The police in Luton... There they go.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Bit of production values. Nice one, Kath. Didn't have that yesterday. Police in Luton are now wearing body cameras in an attempt to protect officers and reassure the public. Now, the only problem I can see with this is that the cameras can be switched on and off at will. Now, most people so far, Justin, have been in favour of this.
Yep.
We spoke to Sophie Khan, who's a regular on Jonathan's show. She was against it. She doesn't think it will work and doesn't think it will bring back trust in the police. You've been out talking to people about this. Are they mainly in favour?
I've got to be honest, 95% of people that I've spoken to this morning, they are definitely in favour of this. The reason being, it gives protection to both parties, OK? But, as you mentioned, the main issue is it's at their discretion. They can turn the cameras on and off when they want to. Now, you mentioned earlier on, is there anybody listening who's got anything against this? So,
yes.
It's taken me a long time to find people who have got views against these body cameras. I found a few people. Here's what they had to say. John, you're not in favour of police cameras. Tell me why.
I just don't get along with police officers anymore. Since a couple of things that happened a long time ago and they haven't resolved it, or they haven't came back to me about it, those especially about it, I lost interest into the police.
So you feel like that they've treated you unfairly?
Basically, yeah.
So you wouldn't want to be recorded by the police under any circumstances?
No.
So would you be worried, just lastly, would you be worried about where that footage could end up then?
Yeah.
What do you think they might do with it?
I don't have a clue.
And that's what worries you?
Yes.
It's the balance of power at the end of the day. If it's at their discretion, they can turn it on and off whenever they want. You know, if they approach a situation and they can see it's escalating and, you know, you get a few rowdy guys, you know, you read about it, you hear stories or whatever. If they turn it off and get involved in a negative sense and the camera's not recording and someone reports that police officer, then, again, it gets down to your word versus theirs.
Not a good idea, man. It's a bad idea.
So you don't want to be recorded?
No, I don't want to be recorded.
Tell me why you don't want to be recorded.
Just don't want to be recorded.
I mean, some people may say, and I'll put this in the nicest possible way, that you don't want to be recorded because you might have something to hide. What would you say to those people?
You'll get switched straight away.
So you feel like that footage could be edited and you feel like you could be stitched up. You clearly don't trust the police, do you?
Yeah, no. Can't be trusted.
There are some people there, Justin, who weren't particularly fans of the police. I'd love to know John's story.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, that's what it all comes down to.
Yep.
One of your previous guests earlier on said to me, it's all down to trust. These people, however good the idea may sound on paper, they don't want it because they do not trust the police.
But then that's the only... If the camera... And the problem is that you can switch the cameras off. That's that won't build any trust at all.
No.
If they were on all the time, then... I can't see how that would not build trust.
But even that, you know, you say to people there that these cameras are there for your protection, they just won't have it. For whatever reason, something has happened, a negative experience with the police, that they believe the footage. What are they going to do with it? Are they going to be looking at that, building evidence against you? Or could they
if you're
edit...
a crook,
or could they edit that footage if something did happen? People, and again, it's a minority of people, 95% of people I've spoken to this morning, they're in favour of this, but the minority, they don't want it, purely based on the fact they do not trust the police.
I have actually thought of a little flaw in this, a little area where this could be tweaked. You are not allowed to film the police. You can't film the police. So if you see, and I've seen people, this happen to people, they've seen an incident with the police and they're on the other side of the road, they get their phones out to film it, and a police officer comes over and says, no, delete that. If you were allowed, if when the police questioned you or pulled you over or searched you, if you were allowed to say, I'm just going to get my phone out and film this officer, so you got both sides covered, that would be good.
I'm not a legal expert.
No, I know, Justin. I'd noticed that.
But, I mean, it was my understanding that you could actually record things. Because if you've seen some of these police television programmes, if they're going out to a protest somewhere, they always say, be careful what you do, because everything is being recorded. People now, with mobile phones, they record absolutely everything. So that, to me, has actually improved policing, because they are being watched by us all the time as well. And this, for me, with the body cameras, again, I think it's fair to both parties, but, for goodness sake, keep the cameras on at all times, because you know what's going to happen. Next week, I'm sure there'll be a complaint, somebody saying, why wasn't the camera turned off? That, for me, is a big, big issue.
Did you have a good weekend, Just?
It was very good, actually, yeah. The weekend was fantastic.
I saw the pictures.
What, the Luton Town celebration?
Yeah, there are a lot of people, weren't there?
About 15,000 people in St George's Square, celebrating the champions.
Plastic fans.
Hey, come on.
Come on, they were plastic fans. wouldn't see those people at the football games.
Hey, listen, Luke...
But they'll come and get a bit of glory.
7,500 average attendance this season, but not everyone can go to the games. People, even if they didn't like football, were coming out to celebrate a good news story about Luton. It was brilliant.
Did you get up on the stage and say a few words?
I had to get up on stage and hype the crowd up, yes.
And what kind of... When you do a public appearance, Just...
Yeah.
What kind of reaction do you get from people? I just wondered what kind of reaction you get.
I don't know, really. I mean...
Abuse?
I didn't hear any abuse on Sunday, but I think there's been a couple of things said on message boards about certain questions, but yeah, on the whole, it was good.
I'm sure you did a good job, mate, and the pictures were fantastic, so well done.
Thank you.
Speak to you tomorrow, boss.
For the tannage, yes. Cheers.
Oh, dear, thank you very much. Got some texts. Ian, I really hope that no one who works for the Daily Mail is diabetic. Otherwise, that would make the paper look like a reactionary, ill-informed comic, wouldn't it, says Phil. Type 2 diabetes is not caused by sugar but by diet high in fat. The fat stops the cells from using insulin. We're able to reverse diabetes by adopting a low-fat, plant-based diet. Pippa says, diabetes. My 6-year-old son is type 1 diabetic. Why has he got this autoimmune disease? I don't know, but I do know that thanks to the NHS, he's alive. And Sharon, a story we did about an hour ago. The chap who's upset about the removal of the rose bush from his parents' grave, was he allowed to plant it in the first place? Because most cemeteries don't allow planting on graves. I think it was put there by the cemetery. That's certainly the impression that I got, Sharon. But we'll chase that story up. Facebook comments about police wearing cameras. Drake says, how long until a primetime TV show, You've Been Nicked? Hilarious accidents that happen when rogues get arrested. Well, I'd be up for that. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Jamie Theakston could do the voiceover for it.
I would hate myself for watching it, but I would be watching it.
Lisa said, these cameras are keeping an eye on the police who are out on the beat, but who is keeping an eye on the people viewing the footage back at the station control centre? What's to stop them from conveniently deleting or editing the footage? And KJL says, that seems like having your cake and eating it to me, or being able to switch the cameras off. On that basis, it will be better not to have cameras than just the edited highlights. Cass got into a trance.
No, it's just that my headphones only work if I hold the wire up like so. So I'm just being very careful not to move.
Take a picture, whack it on Instagram. Let's show the public what they're missing. If you want to join us on Instagram, you can. It's instagram.com/Iain Lee Show, where dreams can come true.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M40 London bound around Junction 8 for Oxford, we've got reports a lane is blocked after an accident. Also on the M1 northbound, heavy going between Junction 13 for Bedford and 14 for Milton Keynes. The anti-clockwise M25 is still heavy going between Junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. And on the A1M southbound, queues between Junction 9 for Letchworth and 7 for Stevenage. On the A41 around the Hemel Hempstead turn-off as you head towards the M25, there was an earlier accident involving multiple vehicles, causing queues at the moment on the approach. On public transport, Southern still have no trains between Milton Keynes and Shepherd's Bush because of overrunning engineering works. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Alice. Excellent stuff as always. Don't forget, you can go and download last week's Best of podcasts. Was it The Times we were in as one of the best comedy podcasts of all time? The Telegraph. I say one of the best. There are about 30 others, but still, fair play us. JVS up next. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Tuesday. It's 9 o'clock, and on today's big phone-in, is it time everyone in this country was forced to vote?